I might read the paragraph on the back first so you get an idea, because obviously some of you haven't done it before, and there's no description of the characters or anything in the script that I saw.
No.
Okey-doke.
Go. A
Streetcar Named Desire shows a turbulent confrontation between traditional values in the American South, an old world graciousness and beauty running I can't even read me, I'm writing. Decoratively to seed. I haven't had a beer yet. Set against the rough-edged, aggressive materialism of the New World. Through vividly characterized figures of Southern belle Blanche Du Bois, seeking refuge from physical ugliness in decayed gentility, and her brutal brother-in-law Stanley Kowalski, Tennessee Williams dramatizes his sense of the South's past as is still active and often destructive in modern America. Okay. Scene 1. My accent may be terrible. The exterior of a 2-story corner building on a street in New Orleans, which is named Elysian Fields and runs between the L and N tracks and the river. The section is poor, but unlike corresponding sections in other American cities, it has a raffish charm. The houses are mostly white frame, weathered grey, with rickety outside stairs and galleries, and quaintly ornamented gables to the entrances of both. It is first dark of an evening in early May. The sky that shows around the dim white building is peculiarly tender blue, almost turquoise, which invests the scene with a kind of lyricism and gratefully accentuates the atmosphere of decay. You can almost feel the warmth of the brown river beyond the warehouses and their faint redolences of bananas and coffee. A corresponding air is evoked by the music of Negro entertainers at a bar room around the corner. In this part of New Orleans, you are practically always just around the corner, or a few doors down the street, from a tiny piano being played with the infatuated fluency of brown fingers. This is blue piano, expresses the spirit of life which goes on here. 2 women, one white and one coloured, are taking the air on the steps of the building. The white woman is Eunice, who occupies the upstairs flat. The coloured woman is a neighbour, for New Orleans is a cosmopolitan city where there is relatively warm and easygoing intermingling of races in the old part of town. Above the music of the blue piano, the voices of people on the street can be heard overlapping.
She says St. Barnabas would send out his dog to lick her, and when he did, she'd feel an icy cold wave all up and down her. Well, that night when...
You keep right on going and you'll find it. You'll hear them tapping the shutters.
Where's the 4 juices?
Red hot! Red hot!
Don't waste your money in that clip joint.
I've got a date there.
Red hot!
Don't let them sell you a Blue Moon cocktail or you won't go out on your own feet.
2 men come around the corner, Stanley Kowalski and Mitch. They're about 28 or 30 years old, roughly dressed in blue denim work clothes. Stanley carries his bowling jacket in a red-stained package from a butcher's.
Well, what did he say?
He said they don't even give us money.
No, we gotta have odds.
They stop at the foot of the steps.
Hey there, Stella, baby!
Stella comes out of the first floor landing, a gentle young woman about 25, and a background obviously quite different from her husband's.
Don't holler at me like that. Hi, Mitch.
Catch.
What?
Meat.
He heaves a package at her. She cries out in protest, but manages to catch it. Then she laughs breathlessly. Her husband and his companion have already started back around the corner.
Stanley, where are you going?
Bowling.
Can I come watch?
Come on.
Be over soon. Hello, Eunice. How are you?
I'm all right. Tell Steve to get him a poor boy sandwich because nothing's left here.
They all laugh. The coloured woman does not stop. Stella goes out.
What was that package you threw at you?
She rises from the steps, laughing louder.
You hush now.
Catch what?
She continues to laugh. Blanche comes around the corner carrying a valise. She looks at the slip of paper, then at the building, then again at the slip, and again at the building. Her expression is one of shocked disbelief. Her appearance is incongruous to this setting. She is daintily dressed in a white suit with a fluffy bodice, necklace and earrings of pearl, white gloves and a hat, looking as if she were arriving at a summer tea or a cocktail party in the Garden District. She's about 5 years older than Stella. Her delicate beauty must avoid a strong light. There is something about her uncertain manner, as well as her white clothes, that suggests a moth.
What's the matter, honey? Are you lost?
They told me to take a streetcar named Desire and then travel to one called Cemeteries and ride 6 blocks and get off at Elysium Fields.
That's where you are now.
At Elysium Fields?
This here is Elysian Fields.
They mustn't have understood what number I wanted.
What number are you looking for?
Blanche wearily refers to slip of paper.
632.
You don't have to look no further.
I'm looking for my sister, Stella Dubois. I mean, Mrs. Stanley Kowalski.
That's the party. You just did miss her, though.
Can this be her home?
She's got the downstairs here, and I got the up.
Oh, she's out?
You notice that bowling alley around the corner?
I'm not sure I did.
Well, that's where she's at, watching her husband bowl. You want to leave your secrets here and go find her?
No,
I'll go tell her you come.
thanks.
You're welcome.
She goes out.
She wasn't expecting you?
No, not tonight.
Well, why don't you just go in and make yourself at home till they get back?
How could I do that?
We own this place, so I can let you in.
She gets up and opens the downstairs door. A light goes on behind the blind, turning it light blue. Blanche slowly follows her into the downstairs flat. The surrounding areas dim out as the interior is lighted. 2 rooms can be seen, not too clearly defined. The first one entered is primarily a kitchen, but contains a folding bed to be used by Blanche. The room beyond this is a bedroom. Off this room is a narrow door to a bathroom.
It's sort of messed up right now, but when it's clean, it's real sweet.
Is it?
Uh-huh, I think so. So you're Stella's sister.
Yes. Thanks for letting me in.
Por nada, as the Mexicans say, por nada. Stella spoke of you. I think she said you taught school?
Yes.
And you're from Mississippi, huh?
Yes.
She showed me a picture of your home place, the plantation.
Bel Rev?
A great big place with white columns.
Yes.
A place like that must be awful hard to keep up.
If you'll excuse me, I'm just about to drop.
Sure, honey. Why don't you sit down?
What I meant was, I'd like to be left alone.
I'll make myself scarce in that case.
I didn't mean to be rude, but
I'll drop by the bowling alley and hustle her up.
Blanche sits in a chair very stiffly with her shoulders slightly hunched and her legs pressed close together, and her hands tightly clutching her purse as if she were quite cold. After a while, the blind look goes out of her eyes, and she begins to look slowly around. A cat screeches. She catches her breath with a startled gesture. Suddenly, she notices something in a half-open closet. She springs up and crosses to it, and removes a whiskey bottle. She pours half a tumbler of whiskey and tosses it down. She carefully replaces the bottle and washes out the tumbler at the sink. Then she resumes her seat in front of the table.
I've got to keep hold of myself.
Stella comes quickly around the corner of the building and runs to the door of the downstairs flat.
Blanche!
For a moment, they stare at each other. Then Blanche springs up and runs to her with a wild cry.
Stella! Oh, Stella, Stella! Stella for star!
She begins to speak with feverish vivacity, as if she feared for either of them to stop and think. They catch each other in a spasmodic moment.
Now then, let me look at you. But don't you look at me. Stella, no, not till later. Not till I've bathed and rested. And turn that overlight off. Turn that off. I won't be looked at in this merciless glare.
Stella laughs and complies.
Come back here now. Oh, my baby. Stella, for star.
She embraces her again.
I thought you would never come back to this horrible place. What am I saying? I didn't mean to say that. I meant to be nice about it and say, oh, what a convenient location and such. Oh, precious lamb, you haven't said a word to me.
You hadn't given me a chance to, honey.
Well, now you talk. Open your pretty mouth and talk while I look round for some liquor. I know you must have some liquor on that place. Where could it be, I wonder? Oh, I spy.
She rushes to the closet and removes the bottle. She is shaking all over and panting for breath as she tries to laugh. The bottle nearly slips from her grasp.
Blanche, you sit down, let me pour the drinks. I don't know what we've got to mix with. Maybe a Coke in the icebox. Look and see, honey, while I'm...
No Coke, honey. Not with my nerves tonight. Where is...
Stanley? Bowling. He loves it. They're having a bounce and soda tournament.
Just water, baby, to chase it. Now don't get worried. Your sister hasn't turned into a drunkard. She's just all shaken up and hot and tired and dirty. You sit down now and explain this place to me. What are you doing in a place like this?
Now, Blanche.
Oh, I'm not going to be hypocritical. I'm going to be honestly critical about it. Never, never, never in my worst dreams could I picture only Poe, only Mr. Edgar Allan Poe could do it justice. Out there, I suppose, is the ghoul-haunted woodland of Weir.
No, honey, those are the L&M tracks.
No, now seriously, putting jokes aside, why didn't you tell me? Why didn't you write me, honey? Why didn't you let me know?
Tell you what, Blanche?
Why? That you had to live in these conditions.
Aren't you being a little intense about it? It's not that bad at all. New Orleans isn't like other cities.
This has got nothing to do with New Orleans. You might as well say, forgive me, bless baby. The subject's closed.
Thanks.
During the pause, Blanche stares at her. She smiles at Blanche.
You're all I've got in the world, and you're not glad to see me?
Why, Blanche, you know that's not true.
No, I've forgotten how quiet.
You never did give me a chance to say much, Blanche. So I just got in the habit of being quiet around you.
A good habit to get into. You haven't asked me how I had school before the spring term ended.
Well, I thought you'd volunteer that information if you wanted to tell me.
You thought I'd been fired.
No, I thought you might have resigned.
I was so exhausted by all I'd been through. Nerves broke. I was on the verge of lunacy almost. So, Mr. Graves is a high school superintendent. He suggested I take leave of absence. I couldn't put all those details into the wire. Oh, this buzzes right through me and feels so good.
Won't you have another?
No, one's my limit.
Sure.
You haven't said a word about my appearance.
You look just fine.
God love you for a liar. Daylight never exposed so total a ruin. But you've put on some weight. Yes, you're just as plump as a little partridge, and it's so becoming to you.
Now, Blanche.
Yes, it is. It is, or I wouldn't say it. You just have to watch around the hips a little. Stand up.
Not now.
You hear me? I said stand up. You messy child. You spilled something on that pretty white lace collar. About your hair. You ought to have it cut in a feather bob with your dainty features, Stella. You have a maid, don't you?
No, with only 2 rooms, it's...
What? 2 rooms, did you say?
This one and...
The other one? I'm going to take just one little tiny nip more. Sort of to put the stopper on, so to speak. Then put the pot away so I won't be tempted. I want you to look at my figure. You know I haven't put on 1 ounce in 10 years, Stella. I weigh what I weighed the summer you left Belle Red, the summer Dad died, and you left us.
It's just incredible, Blanche, how well you're looking.
But Stella, there's only 2 rooms. I don't see where you're going to put me.
We're going to put you in here.
What kind of bed's this? One of those collapsible things?
Does it feel all right?
Wonderful, honey. I don't like bed that gives much, but there's no door between the 2 rooms. And Stanley, will it be decent?
Stanley is Polish, you know.
Oh, yes. They're something like Irish, aren't they?
Well,
Only not so highbrow? I bought some nice clothes to meet all your lovely friends in.
I'm afraid you won't think they're lovely.
What they like?
They're Stanley's friends.
Polacks?
They're a mixed lot, Blanche.
Heterogeneous types?
Oh, yes, types is right.
Well, anyhow, clothes and I'll wear them. I guess you're hoping I'll say I'll put up in a hotel. But I'm not going to put up in a hotel. I want to be near you. Got to be with somebody. I can't be alone. Because as you must have noticed, I'm not very well.
You seem a little bit nervous or overwrought or something.
Will Stanley like me? Or will I just be visiting in-laws, Stella? I couldn't stand that.
You'll get on fine together. If you just try not to, well, compare him with men that we went out with at home.
Is he so different?
Yes, a different species.
In what way? What's he like?
Oh, you can't describe someone you're in love with. Here's a picture of him.
She hands a photograph to Blanche.
An officer?
A master sergeant in the engineers corps. Those are decorations.
Those on when you met him?
I assure you, I wasn't just blinded by all the brass.
That's not what I meant.
But of course, there were things to adjust myself to later on.
Such as his civilian background? How did he take it when you said I was coming?
Oh, Stanley doesn't know yet.
You haven't told him?
He's on the road a good deal.
Oh, Trebles?
Yeah.
Good. I mean, isn't it?
I can hardly stand it when he's away for the night.
Why, Stella?
When he's away for a week, I nearly go wild.
Gracious.
And when he comes back, I cry on his lap like a baby.
I guess that is what is meant by being in love. Stella,
What?
I haven't asked you the things you probably thought I was going to ask, and so I'll expect you to be understanding about what I have to tell you.
What, Blanche?
Well, Stella, you're going to reproach me. I know that. You're bound to reproach me. But before you do, take into consideration you left. I stayed and struggled. You came to New Orleans and looked out for yourself. I stayed at Belle Reve and I tried to hold it together. I'm not meaning this in any reproachful way, but all the burden descended on my shoulders.
The best I could do was make my own living, Blanche.
Blanche begins to shake again with intensity.
I know, but you are the one that abandoned Belle Reve, not I. I stayed and fought for it, bled for it. I almost died for it.
Stop this hysterical outburst and tell me what's happened. What do you mean fought and bled? What kind of...
I knew you would, Stella. I knew you would take this attitude about it.
About what? Please.
The loss. The loss.
Belle Reve? Lost, is it? No.
Yes, Stella.
They stare at each other across the yellow-checked linoleum of the table. Blanche slowly nods her head and Stella looks slowly down at her hands folded on the table. The music of the blue piano grows louder. Blanche touches her handkerchief to her forehead.
But how did it go? What happened?
You're a fine one to ask me how it went.
Blanche!
You're a fine one to sit there accusing me of it.
Blanche!
I took the blows in my face and my body, all of those deaths, the long parade to the graveyard, mother, father, Margaret, that dreadful way, so big with it, It couldn't be put in a coffin, but had to be burned like rubbish. You just came home in time for the funeral, Stella. And funerals are pretty compared to deaths. Funerals are quiet, but deaths, not always. Sometimes their breathing is harsh, and sometimes it rattles, and sometimes they even cry out to you, "Don't let me go." Even the old sometimes say, "Don't let me go," as if you were able to stop them. But funerals are quiet, with pretty flowers. I know what gorgeous boxes they pack them away in. Unless you were there at the bed when they cried out, "Hold me," you'd never suspect there was the struggle for breath and bleeding. But I saw, and now you sit there telling me with your eyes that I let the place go. How in hell do you think all that sickness and dying was paid for? Death is expensive, Miss Stella. And old cousin Jessie's right after Margaret hers. Why, the Grim Reaper had put his tent up in our doorstep. Stella, Bell Rev was his headquarters. Honey, that's how it slipped through my fingers. Which of them left us a fortune? Which of them left a cent of insurance even? Only poor Jessie, 100 to pay for her coffin. That was all, Stella. And I, with my pitiful salary at school, yes, accuse me. Sit there and stare at me, thinking I let the place go. I let the place go? Where were you? In your bed with the Polack.
Blanche, you be still. That's enough.
Where are you going?
I'm going into the bathroom to wash my face.
Oh, Stella? Stella, you're crying.
Does that surprise you?
Forgive me. I didn't mean to.
That line wasn't on my script.
That's
I've noticed there's quite a bit that's not in my script. I've got more lines than you guys. Stella goes into the bathroom. Outside, it's the sound of men's voices. Stanley, Steve, and Mitch cross to the front of the steps.
Is that how he got it?
Sure, that's how he got it. He hit the old Weatherbird for $300 on a 6-number ticket.
Don't tell him those things. He'll believe it.
Hey, Mitch, come back here.
Hey, are we playing poker tomorrow?
Sure. At Mitch's.
No, not at my place. My mother's still sick.
Okay, at my place. But you bring the beer. Break it up down there. I made the spaghetti.
Break it up down there. I made the spaghetti dish and ate it myself.
I told you and phoned you we was playing. Jack's beer.
You never phoned me once.
I told you at breakfast and phoned you at lunch.
Well, never mind about that. You just get yourself home here once in a while.
You want it in the papers?
More laughter and shouts of parting come from the men. Stanley throws the screen door of the kitchen open and comes in. He is of a medium height, about 5 feet 8 or 9, and strongly, compactly built. Animal joy in his being is implicit, in all his movements and his attitudes. Since earliest manhood, the center of his life has been pleasure with women, the giving and taking of it, not with weak indulgence, dependently, but with the power and pride of a richly feathered male bird among hens. Branching out from this complete and satisfying center are all the auxiliary channels of his life, such as his heartiness with men, his appreciation of rough humor, his love of a good drink and food, and games, his car, his radio, everything that is his, that bears his emblem of the gaudy seed bearer. He sizes women up at a glance with sexual classifications, crude images flashing into his mind, and determining the way he smiles at them.
You must be Stanley. I'm Blanche.
Stella's sister?
Yes,
Hello, where's the little woman?
in the bathroom.
Oh, didn't know you were coming in town. Where are you from, Blanche?
Why, I live in Laurel.
He has crossed to the closet and removed the whiskey bottle.
In Laurel, huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, in Laurel. That's right. Not in my territory. Liquor goes fast in hot weather. Have a shot?
No, I rarely touch it.
Some people rarely touch it, but it touches them often. My clothes are sticking to me. Do you mind if I take if I make myself comfortable?
He starts to take off his shirt.
Please do.
Be comfortable is my motto.
It's mine too. It's hard to stay looking fresh. I haven't washed it or even patted my face, and here you are.
You know you can catch cold sitting around in damp things, especially when you've been exercising hard like bowling is. You're a teacher, aren't you?
Yes,
What do you teach, Blanche?
English.
I never was a very good English student. How long you here for, Blanche?
I don't know yet.
You gonna shack up here?
I thought I would if it's not inconvenient for you all.
Good.
Traveling wears me out.
Well, take it easy.
A cat screeches near the window. Blanche springs up.
What's that?
Cats. Hey, Stella.
Yes, Stanley? Oh, sorry.
Yes, Stanley.
Haven't fallen in, have you?
He grins at Blanche. She tries unsuccessfully to smile back, and there's a silence.
I'm afraid I'll strike you as being the unrefined type. Stella spoke of you a good deal. You were married once, weren't you?
The music of the polka rises up, played in the distance.
Yes, when I was quite young.
What happened?
The boy died. I'm afraid I'm going to be sick.
Her head falls on her arms. Scene 2. It is 6 o'clock the following evening. Blanche is bathing. Stella is completing her toilette. Blanche's dress, a flowered print, is laid out on Stella's bed. Stanley enters the kitchen from outside, leaving the door open on the perpetual blue piano around the corner.
What's all this monkey doings?
Oh, Stan, I'm taking Blanche to Galatori's for supper and then to a show because it's your poker night.
How about my supper, huh? I'm not going to no Galatoire's for supper.
I put you a cold plate on ice.
Well, isn't that just dandy?
I'm going to try and keep Blanche out till the party breaks up because I don't know how she would take it. So we'll go to one of the little places in the quarter afterwards, and you'd better give me some money.
Where is she?
She's soaking in a hot tub to quiet her nerves. She's terribly upset.
Over what?
She's been through such an ordeal.
Yeah?
Sam, we've lost Belle Reeve, or is it Reeve or is it Rev?
Rev.
We've lost Belle Rev.
The place in the country?
Yes.
How?
Oh, it had to be sacrificed or something. When she comes in here, be sure to say something nice about her appearance. And oh, don't mention the baby. I haven't said anything yet. I'm waiting till she gets quieter, in a quieter condition.
So?
And try to understand her and be nice to her, Stan.
From the land of sky blue water, they bought a captive maid. Don't know the tune.
She wasn't expecting to find us in such a small place. You see, I try to gloss things over a little in my letters.
So?
And admire her dress and tell her she's looking wonderful. That's important with Blanche, her little weakness.
Yeah, I get the idea. Now, let's skip back a little to where you said the country place was disposed of.
Oh, yes.
How about that? Let's have a few more details on that subject.
It's best not to talk much about it until she's calmed down.
So that's the deal, huh? Sister Blanche cannot be annoyed with business deals right now.
You saw how she was last night.
I saw how she was. Now let's have a gander at the bill of sale.
I haven't seen any.
She didn't show you no papers, no deed of sale or nothing like that, huh?
It seemed like it wasn't sold.
Well, what in hell was it? Was it then? Giveaway? To charity?
Oh, she'll hear you.
I don't care if she hears me. Let me see the papers.
There weren't any papers. She didn't show any papers. I don't care about papers.
Have you ever heard of the Napoleonic Code?
No, Stanley. I haven't heard of the Napoleonic Code. And if I have, I don't see what it...
Let me enlighten you on a point or two, baby.
Yes?
In the state of Louisiana, we have the Napoleonic Code, according to which what belongs to the wife belongs to the husband and vice versa. For instance, if I had a piece of property or you had a piece of property.
My head is swimming.
All right, I'll wait till she gets through soaking in a hot tub. Then I'll inquire if she is acquainted with the Napoleonic Code. It looks to me like you have been swindled, baby. And when you're swindled under the Napoleonic Code, I'm swindled too, and I don't like to be swindled.
There's plenty of time to ask her questions later, but if you do now, she'll go to pieces again. I don't understand what happened to Belle Red. But you don't know how ridiculous you're being when you suggest that my sister or I or any one of our family could have perpetrated a swindle on anyone else.
Then where's the money if the place was sold?
Not sold, lost.
He stalks out of the bedroom and she follows him. Oh, into the bedroom and she follows him. Stanley? He pulls open the wardrobe trunk, standing in the middle of the room, and jerks out an armful of dresses.
Open your eyes to this stuff. You think she got him out of a teacher's pay?
Hush.
Look at these feathers and furs that she comes here to preen herself in. What's this here? A solid gold dress, I believe. And this one, and these here, fox pieces? Genuine fox fur pieces, half a mile long. Where are your fox fur pieces, Stella? Bushy snow white ones, no less. Where are your white fox pieces?
Those are inexpensive summer furs that Blanche has had a long time.
I got an acquaintance who deals in this sort of merchandise. I'll have him in here to appraise it. I'm willing to bet you there's thousands of dollars invested in this stuff here.
Don't be such an idiot, Stanley.
He hurls the furs to the daybed. Then he jerks open small drawers in the trunk and pulls out a fistful of costume jewelry.
And what have we here? The treasure chest of a pirate.
Oh, Stanley.
Pearls, ropes of them. What is this sister of yours, a deep-sea diver? Bracelets of solid gold, too. Where are your pearls and gold bracelets?
Be still, Stanley.
And diamonds, a crown for an empress.
A rhinestone tiara that she wore to a costume ball.
What's rhinestone?
It's next door to glass.
Are you kidding? I have an acquaintance that works in the jewelry store. I'll have him in here to make an appraisal of this. Here's our plantation, or what was left of it, here.
You have no idea how stupid and horrid you're being. Now close that trunk before she comes out of the bathroom.
He kicks the trunk partly closed and sits on the kitchen table.
The Kowalskis and the Dubois have different notions.
Indeed they have. Thank heavens. I'm going outside. You come out with me while Blanche is getting dressed.
Since when do you give me orders?
Are you going to stay here and insult her?
You're damn tootin' I'm gonna stay here.
Stella goes out to the porch. Blanche comes out of the bathroom in a red satin robe.
Hello, Stanley. Here I am, all freshly bathed and scented, and feeling like a brand new human being.
He lights a cigarette.
That's good.
Excuse me while I slip on my pretty new dress.
Go right ahead, Blanche.
She closes the drapes between the rooms.
I understand there's to be a little card party to which we ladies are cordially not invited.
Yeah.
Blanche throws off her robe and slips into a flower print dress.
Where's Stella?
Out on the porch.
I'm going to ask a favor of you in a moment.
What could that be, I wonder?
Some buttons in back. You may enter.
He crosses through the drapes with a smouldering look.
How do I look?
You look all right.
Many thanks. Now the buttons.
I can't do nothing with them.
You man with your big clumsy fingers, may I have a drag on your cig?
Have one for yourself.
Why, thanks. It looks like my trunk has exploded.
Me and Stella were helping you unpack.
Well, you certainly did a fast and thorough job of it.
It looks like you raided some stylish shops in Paris.
Yes, clothes are my passion.
What does it cost for a string of fur pieces like that?
Why, those were a tribute from an admirer of mine.
He must have had a lot of admiration.
Oh. In my youth, I excited some admiration, but look at me now. Would you think it possible that I was once considered to be attractive?
Your looks are okay.
I was fishing for a compliment, Stanley.
I don't go in for that stuff.
What stuff?
Compliments to women about their looks. I never met a woman that didn't know if she was good looking or not without being told, and some of them give themselves credit for more than they've got. I once went out with a doll who said to me, I am the glamorous type. I am the glamorous type. I said, so what?
And what did she say then?
She didn't say nothing. That shut her up like a clam.
Did it end the romance?
It ended the conversation, that was all. Some men are took in by this Hollywood glamour stuff, and some men are not.
I'm sure you belong in the second category.
That's
Oof.
right.
I cannot imagine any witch of a woman casting a spell over you.
That's right.
That
You're
was an Andy look.
simple. You're channeling it. You're simple, straightforward, and honest. A little bit on the primitive side, I should think. To interest you, a woman would have to...
Lay her cards on the table. Sorry.
Well, I never cared for a wishy-washy people. That was why, when you walked in here last night, I said to myself, my sister has married a man. Of course, that was all that I could tell about you.
Now let's cut the rebop.
Ooh.
Stanley, you come out here and let Blanche finish dressing.
I'm through dressing, honey.
Well, you come out then.
Your sister and I are having a little talk.
Honey, do me a favor. Run to the drugstore and get me a lemon coke with plenty of chipped ice in it. Will you do that for me, sweetie?
Yes.
The poor little thing was out there listening to us, and I have an idea she doesn't understand you as well as I do. All right, now, Mr. Kowalski, let us proceed without any more double talk. I'm ready to answer all questions. I've nothing to hide. What is it?
There is such a thing in this state of Louisiana as a Napoleonic code, according to which whatever belongs to my wife is also mine, and vice versa.
My, but you have an impressive judicial air.
She sprays herself with perfume, then playfully sprays him with it. He seizes the perfume and slams it down on the dresser. She throws back her head and laughs.
If I didn't know that you was my wife's sister, I'd get ideas about you.
Such as what?
Don't play so dumb. You know what.
All right. Cards on the table. That suits me. I know I fib a good deal. After all, a woman's charm is 50% illusion. But when a thing is important, I tell the truth, and this is the truth. I haven't cheated my sister, or you, or anyone else as long as I have lived.
Where's the papers? In the trunk?
Everything that I own is in that trunk. What in the name of heaven are you thinking of? What's in the back of the little boy's mind of yours? That I am absconding with something? Attempting some kind of treachery on my sister? Let me do that. It will be faster and simpler. I keep my papers mostly in this tin box.
What's them underneath?
These are love letters, yellowing with antiquity, all from one boy. Give me those back.
I'll have a look at 'em first.
Touch of your hands insults them.
Don't pull that stuff.
He rips off the ribbon and starts to examine them. Blanche snatches them from him and they cascade onto the floor.
Now that you've touched them, I'll burn them.
What in hell are they?
Poems the deaf boy wrote. I hurt him the way that you would like to hurt me, but you can't. I'm not young and vulnerable anymore, but my young husband was, and never mind about that. Just give them back to me.
What do you mean by saying you'll have to burn 'em?
I'm sorry. I must have lost my head for a moment. Everyone has something he won't let others touch because of their intimate nature.
She now seems faint with exhaustion, and she sits down with the strong box and puts on a pair of glasses and goes methodically through a large stack of papers.
Ambler and Ambler? Crabtree? More Ambler and Ambler?
What is Ambler and Ambler?
A firm that made loans on the place.
Then it was lost on a mortgage.
That must have been what happened.
I don't want no ifs, ands, or buts. What's all the rest of them papers?
She hands him the entire box. He carries it to the table and starts to examine all the papers.
There are thousands of papers, stretching back over hundreds of years, affecting Belle Rev as piece by piece our improvident grandfathers and father and uncles and brothers exchanged the land for their epic fornications, to put it plainly. The four-letter word deprived us of our plantation, till finally all that was left, and Stella can verify that, was the house itself and about 20 acres of ground, including a graveyard, to which now old but Stella and I have retreated. Here all of them are, old papers. I hereby endow you with them. Take them, peruse them, commit them to memory even. I think it's wonderfully fitting that Belle Rev should finally be a bunch of old papers in your big, capable hands. I wonder if Stella's come back with my lemon coke.
She leans back and closes her eyes.
I have a lawyer acquaintance who will study these out.
Present them to him with a box of aspirin tablets.
You see, under the Napoleonic Code, a man has to take an interest in his wife's affairs, especially now that she's going to have a baby.
Blanche opens her eyes. The blue piano sounds louder.
Stella? Stella going to have a baby? I didn't know she was going to have a baby.
She gets up and crosses to the outside door. Stella appears around the corner with a carton from the drugstore. Stanley goes into the bedroom with the envelope and the box. The inner rooms fade to darkness and the outside wall of the house is visible. Blanche meets Stella at the foot of the steps on the sidewalk.
Stella for Star. How lovely to have a baby. It's all right. Everything's all right.
I'm sorry he did that to you.
Oh, I guess he's just not the type that goes for jasmine perfume. But maybe he's what we need to mix with our blood now that we've lost Belle Rev. We thrashed it out. I feel a bit shaky, but I think I handled it nicely. I laughed, and I treated it all as a joke. I called him a little boy and laughed and flirted. Yes, I was flirting with your husband. The guests are gathering for a poker party. Which way do we go now, Stella? This way?
No, this way.
The blind are leading the blind.
A Tamil vendor calls out as he rounds the corner. Red hearts! Red hearts! Scene 3. The poker night. There is a picture of Van Gogh's of a billiard parlour at night. The kitchen now suggests a sort of lurid nocturnal brilliance, the raw colours of childhood spectrum. Over the yellow linoleum of the kitchen table hangs an electric bulb with a vivid green glass shade. The poker players, Stanley, Steve, Mitch and Pablo, wear coloured shirts. Solid blues, a purple and red, a white check, a green light, and they are the men at the peak of their physical manhood, a coarse and a direct and powerful as the primary colours. There are vivid slices of watermelon on the table, whiskey bottles and glasses. The bedroom is relatively dim with only the light that spills between the portieres and through the wide open window onto the street. For a moment there is absorbed silence as a hand is dealt.
Anything wild with this deal? Well, no, Jack's wild. Give me 2 cards.
I'm out.
1.
Anyone want a shot?
Yeah, me.
Why don't somebody go to the tournaments and bring back a load of chop suey?
When I'm losing, you want to eat. Ante up. Openers. Openers, get your ass off the table, Mitch. Nothing belongs on a poker table but cards, chips, and whiskey.
He lurches up and tosses some watermelon rinds to the floor.
Kind of on your high horse, aren't you?
How many?
Give me 3.
1.
I'm out again. I ought to go home pretty soon.
Shut up.
I've got a sick mother. She doesn't go to sleep until I come in at night.
Then why don't you stay home with her?
She says to go out, so I go, but I don't enjoy it. All the while, I keep wondering how she is.
Oh, for the sake of Jesus, go home then.
What have you got?
Spade flush.
You are all married, but I'll be alone when she goes. I'm going to the bathroom.
Hurry back and we'll fix you a sugar tit.
Oh, go right.
Sorry.
He crosses through the bedroom door into the bathroom.
7 cards stirred. This old farmer is out in the back of his house, sitting down, throwing corn to the chickens, when all at once he hears a loud cackle with this young hen, comes lickety-split around the side of the house with the rooster right behind her, and gaining on her fast.
Deal.
But when the rooster catches sight of the farmer throwing the corn, he puts on the brakes and lets the hen get away and starts pecking corn. And the old farmer says, Lord God, I hope it never gets that hungry.
Steve and Pablo laugh.
Still going on?
How do I look?
Lovely, Blanche.
I feel so hot and frazzled. Wait till I powder before you open the door. Do I look done in?
Why, no, you are as fresh as a daisy.
One that's picked a few days.
Stella opens the door and they enter.
Well, 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 I see you boys are still at it.
Where you been?
Blanche and I took in a show. Blanche, this is Mr. Gonzalez and Mr. Hubble.
Please don't get up.
Nobody's gonna get up, so don't be worried.
She's got cards. Love it.
How much longer in this game gonna continue?
Till we get ready to quit.
Poker is so fascinating. Could I kablitz?
You could not. Why don't you women go up and sit with Eunice?
Because it is nearly 2:30. Couldn't you call it quits after one more hand?
A chair scrapes. Stanley gives a loud whack of his hand on her thigh.
That's not fun, Stanley.
And all laugh. Stella goes into the bedroom.
It makes me so mad when he does that in front of people.
I think I'll bathe.
Again?
My nerves are in knots. Is the bathroom occupied?
I don't know.
Blanche comes out of a door and still wipes his hands on a towel.
Oh, good evening.
Hello?
Blanche, this is Harold Mitchell. My sister, Blanche Dubois.
How'd you do, Mrs. Dubois?
How's your mother now, Mitch?
About the same, thanks. She appreciates you sending over that custard. Excuse me, please.
He crosses slowly back into the kitchen, glancing at Blanche and coughing a little shyly. He realizes he still has the towel in his hands and with an embarrassed laugh hands it to Stella. Blanche looks after him with a certain interest.
That one seems superior to the others.
Yes, he is.
I thought he had a sort of sensitive look.
His mother is sick.
Is he married?
No.
Is he a wolf?
Why, Blanche? I don't think he would be.
What does he do?
She's unbuttoning her blouse.
He's on the precision bench in the spare parts department at the plant Stanley travels for.
Is that something much?
No, Stanley's the only one of his crowd that's likely to get anywhere.
What makes you think Stanley will?
Look at him.
I have looked at him.
Then you should know.
I'm sorry, but I have noticed the stamp of genius even on Stanley's forehead.
She takes off the blouse and stands in her pink silk brassiere and white skirt in the light through the portieres. The game has continued in undertones.
It isn't on his forehead, and it isn't genius.
Oh, well, what is it? And where? I'd like to know.
It's a drive that he has. You're standing in the light, Blanche.
Oh, am I?
She moves out of the yellow streak of light. Stella has removed her dress and put on a light blue satin kimono.
You ought to see their wives.
I can imagine. Big, beefy things, I suppose.
You know that one upstairs? One time the plaster cracked.
You hands cut out that conversation in there.
You can't hear us?
Well, you can hear me, and I said to hush up.
This is my house, and I'll talk as much as I want to.
Stella, don't start a row.
He's half drunk. I'll be out in a minute.
She goes into the bathroom. Blanche rises and crosses leisurely to a small white radio and turns it on.
All right, Mitch, you in?
What? Oh, no. I'm out.
Blanche moves back into the streak of light. She raises her arms and stretches. As she moves indolently back to the chair, rumba music comes on over the radio. Mitch rises at the table.
Who turned that on in there?
I did. Do you mind?
Turn it off.
Or let the girls have their music. Sure, that's good. Leave it on. Sounds like Xavier Cugat.
Stanley jumps up and crosses to the radio, turning it off. He stops short at the side of Blanche in the chair. She returns his look without flinching. Then he sits again at the poker table. Two of the men have started arguing hotly.
I didn't hear you name it.
Didn't I name it, Mitch?
I wasn't listening.
What were you doing then?
He was looking through them drapes. Now deal a hand over again and let's play cards or quit. Some people get ants when they win.
Mitch rises at Stanley and returns to his seat.
Sit down!
I'm going to the head. Deal me out.
Sure, he's got ants now. $75 bills in his pants pocket, folded up tight as spitballs.
Tomorrow you'll see him at the cashier's window getting them changed into quarters.
And when he goes home, he'll deposit them one by one in the piggy bank his mother gave him for Christmas. This game is split in the ocean.
Mitch laughs uncomfortably and continues through the portieres. He stops just inside.
Hello? The little boy's room is busy right now.
We've been drinking beer.
I hate beer.
It's a hot weather drink.
Oh, I don't think so. It always makes me warmer. Have you got any six?
Sure.
What kind are they?
Lookies.
Oh, good. What a pretty case. Silver?
Yeah. Yeah, read the inscription.
Oh, is there an inscription? I can't make it out.
He strikes a match and moves closer.
Oh. And if God choose, I shall but love thee better after death. Why, that's from my favorite sonnet by Mrs. Browning.
You know it?
Certainly I do.
There's a story connected with that inscription.
It sounds like a romance.
It's a pretty sad one.
Oh?
The girl's dead now.
Oh.
She knew that she was dying when she gave me this. A very strange girl. Very sweet. Very.
She must have been fond of you. Sick people have such deep, sincere attachments.
That's right. They certainly do.
Sorrow makes for sincerity, I think.
It sure brings it out in people.
The little things, the little there is belongs to people who have experienced some sorrow.
I believe you are right about that.
I'm positive that I am. Show me a person who hasn't known any sorrow, and I'll show you a superficial. Listen to me, my tongue is a little thick. You boys are responsible for it. The show let out at 11, and we couldn't come home on account of the poker game, so we had to go somewhere and drink. I'm not accustomed to having more than one drink. 2 is the limit, and 3. Tonight I had 3.
Mitch!
Deal me out. I'm talking to Mrs.
Dubois.
Miss Dubois.
It's a French name. It means woods, and Blanche means white. So the two together mean white woods. Like an orchard spring, you can remember it by that.
You're French.
We are French by extraction. Our first American ancestors were French Huguenots.
You're Stella's sister. Are you not?
Yes, Stella is my precious little sister. I call her little in spite of the fact she's somewhat older than I. Just slightly. Less than a year. Will you do something for me?
Sure. What?
I bought this adorable little colored paper lantern at a Chinese shop on Bourbon. Put it over that light bulb, will you, please?
Be glad to.
I can't stand a naked light bulb any more than I can a rude remark or a vulgar action.
I guess we strike you as being a pretty rough bunch.
I'm very adaptable to circumstances.
Well, that's a good thing to be. Your vision shares Stanley and Stella.
Stella hasn't been so well lately, and I came down to help her for a while. She's very run down.
You're not...
Married? No. I'm an old maid school teacher.
You may teach school, but you're certainly not an old maid.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate your gallantry.
So, you are in the teaching profession?
Yes, yes.
Grade school or high school or...
Stanley!
Mitch!
Coming!
Gracious, what lung power! I teach high school in Laurel.
What do you teach? What subject?
Yeah. Guess.
I bet you teach art or music. Of course, I could be wrong. You might teach arithmetic.
Never arithmetic, sir. Never arithmetic. I don't even know my multiplication tables. No, I have the misfortune of being an English instructor. I attempt to instill a bunch of Barbie Soxes and Drexel Romeos with reverence for Hawthorne and Whitman and Poe.
I guess some of them are more interested in other things.
How very right you are. Their literacy heritage is not what most of them treasure above all else, but what their sweet things. And in the spring it's touching to notice them making their first discovery of love, as if nobody had ever known it before.
The bathroom door opens and Stella comes out. Blanche continues talking to Mitch.
Oh, have you finished? Wait, I'll turn on the radio.
She turns the knobs on the radio and begins to play Wien, no dualen. Blanche waltzes to the music with romantic gestures. Mitch is delighted and moves in awkward imitation like a dancing bear. Stanley stalks fiercely through the portieres into the bedroom. He crosses to the small white radio and snatches it off the table. With a shouted oath, he tosses the instrument out of the window.
Drunk animal thing, you. All of you, please go home. If any of you have one spark of decency in you.
Stella, watch out, he's...
Stanley charges after Stella.
Take it easy, Stanley. Easy, fellow. Let's all.
You lay your hands on me and I'll...
She backs out of sight. He advances and disappears. There is the sound of a blow. Stella cries out. Blanche screams and runs into the kitchen. The men rush forward and there is a grappling and a cursing. Someone is overturning something with a crash.
My sister's gonna have a baby!
This is terrible.
Lunacy, absolute lunacy.
Get him in here, man!
Stanley is... I've got my English literature notes in here. Stanley is forced, pioneered by the two men, into the bedroom. He nearly throws them off. Then, all at once, he subsides and is limp in their grasp. They speak quietly, lovingly to him, and he leans his face on one of their shoulders.
I want to go away. I want to go away.
Poker shouldn't be played in a house with women.
Blanche rushes into the bedroom.
I want my sister's clothes. We'll go to the woman's upstairs.
Where's the clothes?
I've got them. Stella, precious, dear little sister, don't be afraid.
With her arms around Stella, Blanche guides her to the outside doors and upstairs.
What's the matter? What happened?
You just blew your top, Stan.
He's okay now.
Sure, my boy's okay.
Put him on the bed and get a wet towel.
I think coffee would do him a word of good now.
I want water.
Put him under the shower.
The men talk quickly as they lead him to the bathroom.
Let the rut go of me, you sons of bitches!
The sounds of blows are heard. The water goes on full tilt.
Let's get quick out of here.
They rush to the poker table and sweep up their winnings on their way out.
Poker should not be played in a house with women.
The door closes on them and they place still. The Negro entertainers in the bar around the corner play paintball, slow and blue. After a moment, Stanley comes out of the bathroom, dripping wet, still in his clinging wet polka dot drawers.
Stella, my baby doll's left me.
He breaks into sobs. Then he goes to the phone and dials, still shuddering with sobs.
Eunice, I want my baby.
An indistinguishable shrill voice is heard. He hurls the phone to the floor. Dissonance, brass, and piano sounds as the room dims into darkness and the outer walls appear in the night light. The blue piano plays for a brief interval. I really want to hear this blue piano.
Me too.
Finally, Stanley stumbles, half-dressed, out to the porch and down wooden steps to the pavement before the building. There he throws back his head like a baying hound and bellows his wife's name. Stella, sweetheart, Stella, Stella!
Stella!
Quit that howling out there and go back to bed.
I want my baby down here. Stella! Stella!
She ain't coming down, so you quit, or you'll get the law on you.
Stella!
You can't beat on a woman and then call her back. She won't come. And you going to have a baby, you stinker, you whelp of a Pollack, you. I hope they do haul you in and turn the fire hose on you, same as the last time.
Eunice, I want my girl to come down with me.
Ha!
Stella!
A low-toned clarinet moans. The door upstairs opens again. Stella slips down the rickety stairs in her robe. Her eyes are glistening with tears and her hair is loose about her throat and shoulders. They stare at each other. Then they come together with low animal moans. He falls to his knees on the steps and presses his face to her belly, curving a little with maternity. Her eyes go blind with tenderness as she catches his head and raises him level with her. He snatches the screen door open and lifts her off her feet and bears her into the dark flat. Blanche comes out on the upper landing in her robe and slips fearfully down the steps.
Where is my little sister? Stella? Stella?
She stops before the dark entrance of her sister's flat, and she catches her breath as if struck. She rushes down to the walk before the house. She looks right and left as if for sanctuary. The music fades away. Mitch appears from around the corner.
Mr. Boy,
Oh,
all quiet on the tarmac now.
she ran downstairs and went back in there with him.
Sure she did.
I'm terrified.
Ho ho! Nothing to be scared of. They're crazy about each other.
I'm not used to such.
It's a shame that this had to happen when you just got out of here. But don't take it too seriously.
Violence is so.
Sit down on the steps and have a cigarette with me.
I'm not properly dressed.
That doesn't make a difference in the quarter.
Such a pretty silver case.
I showed you the inscription, didn't I?
Yes. There's so much confusion in the world. Thank you for being so kind. I need kindness now.
Scene 4. It is early the following morning. There is a confusion of street cries like a choral chant. Stella is lying down in the bedroom. Her face is serene in the early morning light. One hand rests on her belly, rounding slightly with new maternity. From the other dangles a book of colored comics. Her eyes and lips have almost narcissized tranquility that is in the fear of Eastern idols. The table is sloppy with remains of breakfast and the debris of the previous night, and Stanley's gaudy pajamas lie across the threshold of the bathroom. The outside door is slightly ajar in the sky of summer brilliance. Blanche appears at the door. She has spent a sleepless night, and her appearance entirely contrasts with Stella's. She presses her knuckles nervously to her lips as she looks through the door before entering.
Stella?
Blanche utters a moaning cry and runs into the bedroom, throwing herself down beside Stella in a rush of hysterical tenderness.
Oh, baby, my baby sister.
Blanche, what is the matter with you?
Blanche straightens up slowly and stands beside the bed, looking down at her sister with knuckles pressed to her lips.
He's left.
Dan? Yes.
Will he be back?
He's gone to get the car greased. Why?
Why? I've been half crazy, Stella. When I found out you'd been insane enough to come back in here after what happened, I started to rush in after you.
I'm glad you didn't.
What were you thinking of? Answer me. What? What?
Please, Blanche, sit down and stop yelling.
All right, Stella. I will repeat the question quietly now. How could you come back in this place last night? Why, you must have slept with him.
Stella gets up in a calm and leisurely way.
Blanche, I've forgotten how excitable you are. You're making much too much fuss about this.
Am I?
Yes, you are, Blanche. I know how it must have seemed to you, and I'm awfully sorry it had to happen, but it wasn't anything as serious as you seem to take it. In the first place, when men are drinking and playing poker, Anything can happen. It's always a powder keg. He didn't know what he was doing. He was as good as a lamb when I came back, and he's really very, very ashamed of himself.
And that makes it all right?
No, it isn't all right for anybody to make such a terrible row, but people do sometimes. Stanley's always smash things. Why, on our wedding night, soon as we came in here, he snatched off one of my slippers and rushed around the place, smashing the light bulbs with it.
He did what?
He smashed all the light bulbs with the heel of my slipper.
And you let him? Didn't run, didn't scream?
I was sort of thrilled by it. But Eunice and you had breakfast?
Do you suppose I wanted any breakfast?
There's some coffee left on the stove.
You're so matter-of-fact about it, Stella.
What other can I be? He's taken the radio to get it fixed. It didn't land on the pavement, so only one tube was smashed.
And you were standing there smiling?
What do you want me to do?
Pull yourself together and face the facts.
What are they, in your opinion?
My opinion? You're married to a madman.
No.
Yes, you are. Your fix is worse than mine is. Only you're not being sensible about it. I'm going to do something. Get hold of myself and make myself a new life.
Yes?
But you've given in, and that isn't right. You're not old. You can get out.
I'm not in anything I want to get out of.
What? Stella?
I said I'm not in anything that I have a desire to get out of. Look at the mess in this room and those empty bottles. They went through 2 cases last night. He promised this morning that he was going to quit having these poker parties. But you know how long such a promise is going to keep? Oh, well, it's his pleasure. Like mine is movies and bridge. People have got to tolerate each other's habits, I guess.
I don't understand you. I don't understand your indifference. Is this a Chinese philosophy you've cultivated?
Is what? What?
This, shuffling about and mumbling. 1 tube smash, beer bottles, mess in the kitchen, as if nothing out of the ordinary has happened.
Stella laughs uncertainly and picking up the broom, twirls it in her hands.
Are you deliberately shaking that thing in my face?
No.
Stop it. Let go of that broom. I won't have you cleaning up for him.
And who's going to do it? Are you?
I?
No, I didn't think so.
Oh, let me think. If only my mom would function. We've got to get hold of some money. That's the way out.
I guess that money is always nice to get hold of.
Listen to me. I have an idea of some kind. Do you remember Shep Huntley? Of course you remember Shep Huntley. I went out with him at college and wore his pin for a while.
Well?
I ran into him last winter, you know. I went to Miami during the Christmas holidays.
No.
Well, I did. I took trip as an investment thinking I'd meet someone with $1 million.
And did you?
Yes, I ran into Shep Huntley. I ran into him on Biscayne Boulevard on Christmas Eve, about dusk, getting into his car. Cadillac convertible. Must have been a block long.
I should think it would have been inconvenient in traffic.
You've heard of oil wells?
Yes, remotely.
He has them all over Texas. Texas is literally spouting gold in his pockets.
My.
You know how indifferent I am to money. I think of money in terms of what it does for you. But he could do it. He could certainly do it.
Do what, Blanche?
Why? Set us up in a shop.
What kind of a shop?
Oh, a shop of some kind. He could do it with half what his wife throws away at the races.
He's married?
Honey, would I be here if the man weren't married? How do I get Western Union? Operator, Western Union.
That's a dial phone, honey.
I can't dial. I'm too.
Just dial O.
Oh,
Yes, O for operator.
give me a
Blanche
pencil.
considers this a
Carry on. Sorry.
Blanche considers this a moment, then she puts the phone down.
Give me a pencil. Where's a slip of paper? I've got to write it down first. The message, I mean.
She goes to the dressing table and grabs a sheet of Kleenex and an eyebrow pencil for writing equipment.
Let me see now. Darling Shep, sister and I in desperate situation.
I beg your pardon?
Sister and I in desperate situation. We'll explain details later. Would you be interested in... You never get anywhere with direct appeals.
Don't be so ridiculous, darling.
But I'll think of something. I gotta think of something. Don't laugh at me, Stella. Please don't. I want you to look at the contents of my purse. Here's what's in it. 65 measly cents in coin of the realm.
Stanley doesn't give me a regular allowance. He likes to pay bills himself. But this morning he gave me $10 to smooth things over. You take 5 of it, Blanche, and I'll keep the rest.
Oh, no, Stella.
I know how it helps your morale just having a little pocket money on you.
No, thank you. I'll take to the streets.
Talk sense. How did you happen to get so low on funds?
Money just goes. It goes places. Sometimes today, I gotta get hold of a bromo.
I'll fix you one now.
Not yet. I've got to keep thinking.
I wish you'd just let things go, at least for a while.
Stella, I can't live with him. You can, he's your husband. But how could I stay here with him after last night, with just those curtains between us?
Blanche, you saw him at his worst last night.
On the contrary, I saw him at his best. What such a man has to offer is animal force, and he gave a wonderful exhibition of that. But the only way to live with such a man is to go to bed with him, and that's your job, not mine.
After you've rested a little, you'll see it's going to work out. You don't have to worry about anything while you're here. I mean, expenses.
I to plan for us both, to get us both out.
You take it for granted that I'm in something that I want to get out of.
I take it for granted that you still have sufficient memory of Belle Reve to find this place and these poker players impossible to live with.
Well, you're taking entirely too much for granted.
I can't believe you're in earnest.
No?
I understand how it happened, a little. You saw him in uniform, an officer. Not here, but...
I'm not sure it would have made any difference where I saw him.
Now, don't say it was one of those mysterious electric things between people. If you do, I'll laugh in your face.
I am not going to say anything more at all about this.
All right, then, don't.
There are things that happen between a man and a woman in the dark that sort of make everything else seem unimportant.
What you are talking about is brutal desire, just desire. The name of that rattle-trap streetcar that bangs through the quarter, up one old narrow street and down another.
Haven't you ever ridden on that streetcar?
It brought me here, where I'm not wanted and where I'm ashamed to be.
Then don't you think your superior attitude is a bit out of place?
I am not being or feeling at all superior, Stella. Believe me, I'm not. It's just this. This is how I look at it. A man like that is someone to go out with once, twice, 3 times when the devil is in you, but live with, have a child by,
I have told you that I love him.
then I tremble for you. I just tremble for you.
I can't help your trembling if you insist on trembling.
It's like Dolly Parton's in the room. There is a
It
pause.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
May I speak plainly?
Yes, do. Go ahead as plainly as you want to.
Outside, a train approaches. They are silent until the noise subsides. They are both in the bedroom. Under the cover of the train's noise, Stanley enters from outside. He stands unseen by the women, holding some packages in his arms, and overhears their following conversation. He wears an undershirt and grease-stained sucker pants.
Well, if you'll forgive me, he's common.
Why, yes, I suppose he is.
Suppose? You can't have forgotten that much of our upbringing, Stella, that you just suppose that any part of a gentleman's in his nature, not one particle, no. Oh, if he was just ordinary, just plain, but good and wholesome, but no, there's something downright bestial about him. You're hating me saying this, aren't you?
Go on and say it all, Blanche.
He acts like an animal, has an animal's habits, eats like one, moves like one, talks like one. There's even something subhuman, something not quite to the stage of humanity yet. Yes, something ape-like about him, like one of those pictures I've seen in anthropological studies. Thousands and thousands of years have passed him right by, and there he is, Stanley Kowalski, survivor of the Stone Age, bearing the raw meat home with the kill in the jungle. And you here, waiting for him. Maybe he'll strike you, or maybe he'll grunt and kiss you. That is, if kisses have been discovered yet. Night falls and the other apes gather, there in front of the cave, all grunting like him, and swilling and gnawing and hulking. His poker knife. You call it this party of... Somebody growls, some creature snatches at something, the fight is on. God, maybe we are a long way from being made in God's image, but Stella, my sister, there has been some progress since then. Such things as art, as poetry and music, such kinds of new light have come into the world since then. And some kind of people, some tenderer feelings have had some little beginning. What we have got to make grow and cling to and hold as our flag in the dark march toward whatever it is we're approaching. Don't hang back with the brutes.
Another train passes outside. Stanley hesitates, licking his lips. Then suddenly he turns stealthily about and withdraws through the front door. The women are still unaware of his presence. When the train has passed, he calls through the closed front door.
Hey, Stella.
Stanley!
Stella,
But Stella has gone to the front door. Stanley enters casually with his packages.
Hiya, Stella. Blanche back?
Yeah, she's back.
Hiya, Blanche.
You must have got under the car.
Them darn mechanics at Fritz's don't know their ass from... Hey!
Stella has embraced him with both arms, fiercely and full on in the view of Blanche. He laughs and clasps his head to her head to him. Over her head, he grins through the curtains at Blanche. As the light fades away with a lingering brightness on their embrace, the music of the blue piano again, and the trumpet and the drums is heard. Scene 5. Blanche is seated in the bedroom, fanning herself with a palm leaf as she reads over. I'll push you to get one of those. With a palm leaf as she reads over just a completed letter. Suddenly she bursts into a peal of laughter. Stella is dressing in the bedroom.
What are you laughing at, honey?
myself for being such a liar. I'm writing a letter to Shep. Darling Shep, I'm spending the summer on the wing, making flying visits here and there. And who knows, perhaps I'll take a sudden notion to swoop down on Dallas. How would you feel about that? Forewarned is forearmed, as they say. How does that sound?
Uh-huh.
Most of my sister's friends go north in the summer, but some have homes on the Gulf, and there has been a continued round of entertainments, teas, cocktails, and luncheons.
A disturbance is heard upstairs at the Humble's apartment.
Eunice seems to be having some trouble with Steve.
Eunice's voice shouts in a terrible wrath.
I heard about you and that blonde.
That's a damn lie.
You ain't pulling the wool over my eyes. I wouldn't mind if you'd stay down at the Four Deuces, but you always going up.
Who ever seen me up?
I seen you chasing her around the balcony. I'm gonna call the Vice Squad.
Don't you throw that at me.
You hit me. I'm gonna call the police.
Oh, I've got another line for Eunice. Yeah. A clatter of aluminum striking a wall is heard, followed by a man's angry whirl. Shouts and overturned furniture. There is a crash and then a relative hush.
Did he kill her?
No, she's coming downstairs.
Call the police. I'm going to call the police. That's all there is.
Oh, I've got a line for Stella, sorry. They laugh lightly. Stanley comes around the corner in his green and scarlet silk bowling shirt. He trots up the steps and bangs into the kitchen. Blanche registers his entrance with a nervous gesture.
What's the matter with Eunice?
She and Steve had a row. Has she got the police?
Nah, she's getting a drink.
That's much more practical.
Steve comes down, nursing a bruise on his forehead, and looks in the door.
She here?
No, at the Four Deuces.
That rutting hunk.
He looks around the corner a bit timidly, then he turns with affected boldness and runs after her.
I must jot that down in my notebook. I'm compiling a notebook of quaint little words and phrases I picked up here.
You won't pick up nothing here you ain't heard before.
Can I count on that?
You can count on it up to 500.
That's a mighty high number.
He jerks open the bureau drawer, slams it shut, and throws in his shoes in the corner. At each noise, Blanche winces slightly. Finally, she speaks.
What sign were you born under?
Sign.
Astrological sign. I bet you were born under Aries. Aries people are forceful and dynamic. They dote on noise. They love to bang things around. You must have had lots of banging around in the army, and now that you're out, you make up for it by treating inanimate objects with such fury.
Stella has been going in and out of the closet during this scene. Now she pops her head out from the closet.
Stanley was born just 5 minutes after Christmas.
Capricorn, a goat.
What sign were you born under?
Oh, my birthday's next month, the 15th of September. That's under Virgo.
What's Virgo?
Virgo is the virgin.
Ha!
He advances a little.
Say, do you happen to know somebody named Shaw?
Her face expresses a faint shock. She reaches for the cologne bottle and dampens her handkerchief as she answers carefully.
Why, everybody knows somebody named Shaw.
Well, this somebody named Shaw is under the impression he met you in Laurel, but I figure he must have got you mixed up with some other party, because this other party is someone he met at a hotel called the Flamingo.
Blanche laughs breathlessly as she touches the cologne-dampened handkerchief to her temple.
I'm afraid he does have me mixed up with this other party. The Hotel Flamingo is not the sort of establishment I would dare to be seen in.
You know of it?
Yes, I've seen it and smelled it.
You must have got pretty close if you could smell it.
The odor of cheap perfume is penetrating.
That stuff you use is expensive.
$25 an ounce. I'm nearly out. That's just a hint if you want to remember my birthday.
Shaw must have got you mixed up. He goes in and out of Laurel all the time, so he can check on it and clear up any mistake.
He turns away and crosses to the portieres. Blanche closes her eyes as if faint. Her hand trembles as she lifts the handkerchief again to her forehead. Steve and Eunice come around the corner. This is going to be complicated because I think Steve and Eunice are the same person.
No.
Steve's arm is around Eunice's shoulder, and she's
No, I'm
sobbing.
Steve.
Oh, okay, that's cool. We're all right. Victoriously, as he is calling love words, there is a murmur of thunder as they go slowly upstairs in a tight embrace.
I'll wait for you at the Four Deuces.
Hey, don't I rate one kiss?
Not in front of your sister.
It's fine because Steve and what's-her-face haven't said anything anyway. He goes out. Blanche rises from her chair. She seems faint, looks about her with an expression of almost panic.
Stella, what have you heard about me?
Huh?
What have people been telling you about me?
Telling?
You haven't heard any unkind gossip about me?
Why, no, Blanche, of course not.
Honey, there was a good deal of talk in Laurel.
About you, Blanche?
I wasn't so good the last 2 years or so after Belle Rev had started to slip through my fingers.
All of us do things we...
I never was hard or self-sufficient enough. When people are soft people have got to shimmer and glow. They've got to put on soft colors, the colors of a butterfly wings, and put a paper lantern over the light. It isn't enough to be soft. You've got to be soft and attractive. And I'm fading now. I don't know how much longer I can turn the trick.
The afternoon has faded to dusk. Stella goes into the bedroom and turns on the light under the paper lantern. She holds a bottle of soft drink in her hand.
Have you been listening to me?
I don't listen to you when you're being morbid.
Is that Coke for me?
Not for anyone else.
Why, you precious thing, you. Is it just Coke?
You mean you want a shot in it?
Well, honey, a shot never does a Coke any harm. Let me. You mustn't wait on me.
I like to wait on you, Blanche. It makes it seem more like home.
I have to admit, I love to be waited on.
She rushes into the bedroom. Stella goes to her with a glass. Blanche suddenly clutches Stella's free hand with a moaning sound and presses her hand to her lips. Stella is embarrassed by her show of emotion. Blanche speaks in a choked voice.
You're so good to me, and
Blanche!
I know I won't. You hate me to talk sentimental, but honey, believe I feel things more than I tell you. I won't stay long. I won't. I promise.
Blanche!
I won't. I promise. I'll go soon. I will really. I won't hang around until he throws me out.
Now, will you stop talking foolish?
Yes, honey. Watch how you pour. That fizzy stuff foams over.
Blanche laughs shrilly and grabs a glass, but her hand shakes so it almost slips from her grasp. Stella pours the Coke into the glass. It foams over and spills. Blanche gives a piercing cry.
Heaven!
Right on my pretty white skirt.
Oh, use my hanky.
I know. Gently, gently.
Did it stay?
Not a bit. Isn't that lucky?
She sits down shakily, taking a grateful drink. She holds the glass in both hands and continues to laugh a little.
Why did you scream like that?
I don't know why I screamed. Mitch is coming at 7. I guess I'm just feeling nervous about our relations. He hasn't gotten a thing but a goodnight kiss. That's all I have given him, Stella. I want his respect, and men don't want anything they get too easy. But on the other hand, men lose interest quickly, especially when the girl is over 30. They think a girl over 30 ought to, the vulgar term is, put out. And I'm not putting out. Of course, he doesn't know. I mean, I haven't informed him of my real age.
Why are you so sensitive about your age?
Because of hard knocks, my vanity's been given. What I mean is, he thinks I'm sort of prim and proper, you know? I want to deceive him enough to make him want me.
Blanche, do you want him?
I want to rest. I want to breathe quietly again. Yes, I want Mitch very badly. Just think, if it happens, I can leave here and not be anyone's problem.
Stanley comes around the corner with a drink under his belt.
Hey, Steve. Hey, Eunice. Hey, Stella.
There are joyful calls from above. Trumpet and drums are heard from around the corner.
It will happen.
It will.
It will. It will, honey, it will. But don't take another drink.
Her voice catches as she goes out of a door to meet her husband. Blanche sinks faintly back into a chair with a drink. Eunice shrieks with laughter and runs down the steps. Steve bounds after her with a goat-like screech and chases her around the corner. Stanley and Stella twine arms about as they follow, laughing. Dusk settles deeper. The music from the Four Deuces is slow and blue.
Army, army, army.
Her eyes fall shut and the palm leaf drops from her fingers. She slaps her hand on the chair arm a couple of times, then she raises herself wearily to her feet and picks up the hand mirror. There is a little glimmer of lightning about the building. The Negro woman, cackling hysterically, swaying drunkenly, comes around the corner from the Four Deuces. At the same time, a young man enters from the opposite direction. The Negro woman snaps her fingers before his belt.
Come in.
She says something indistinguishable. The young man shakes his head violently and edges hastily up the steps. He rings the bell. Blanche puts down the mirror. The Negro woman has wandered into the street.
Come in.
The young man appears through the portieres. She regards him with such interest.
Well, well, what can I do for you?
I'm collecting for the Evening Star.
I didn't know that stars took up collections.
It's the paper.
I know, I was joking. Feebly. Will you have a drink?
No, ma'am. No, thank you. I can't drink on the job.
Oh, well, now, let's see. No, I don't have a dime. I'm not the lady of the house. I'm her sister from Mississippi. I'm one of those poor relations you've heard about.
That's all right. I'll drop by later.
Hey, could you give me a light?
Sure. This doesn't always work.
It's temperamental. Ah, thank you. Hey!
Thank you.
What time is it?
7:15.
So late? Don't you just love these long rainy afternoons in New Orleans when an hour isn't just an hour, but a little piece of eternity dropped into your hands? And who knows? Who knows what to do with it?
Yes, ma'am.
You didn't get wet in the rain?
No, ma'am. I stepped inside.
In a drugstore? And had a soda?
Mm-hmm.
Chocolate?
No, ma'am. Cherry.
Cherry?
Cherry shoulder.
You make my mouth water.
Well, I'd better be,
Young man! Young man, young man, has anyone ever told you that you look like a young prince out of the Arabian Nights?
No, ma'am.
Well, you do, honey lamb. Come here, I want to kiss you. Just once, softly and sweetly on your mouth.
Without waiting for him to accept, she crosses quickly to him and presses her lips to his.
Now run along. Now quickly. It would be nice to keep you, but I've got to be good and keep my hands off children.
Her Huh?
All heads are rumors.
I'm
He
looking
stares at her a
raised
moment.
eyebrows.
She opens the door for him and blows a kiss to him as he goes down the stairs with a dazed look. She stands there a little dreamily after he has disappeared. Then Mitch appears around the corner with a bunch of roses.
Look who's coming, my Rosen Cavalier. Bow to me first, now present them.
He does so, but she cuts it low.
Merci.
Scene 6. It is about 2 a.m. the same night. The outer wall of the building is visible. Blanche and Mitch come in. The utter exhaustion, which only a neurismeric personality can know, is evident in Blanche's voice and manner. Mitch is stolid but depressed. They've probably been out to the amusement park on Lake Pontchartrain, for Mitch is bearing upside down a plastic statuette of Mae West, the sort of prize won at the shooting gallery of Carnival Games of Chance.
Well,
Mitch laughs uneasily.
well,
I guess it must be pretty late. And you're tired.
even the hot-mouthed man has deserted the street, and he hangs on till the end. How would you get home?
I'll walk over to Bourbon and catch an owl car.
Is that streetcar named Desire still grinding along the tracks at this hour?
I'm afraid you haven't got much fun out of this evening, Blanche.
I spoiled it for you.
No, you didn't. But I feel all the time I was grieving. I wasn't giving you much entertainment.
I simply couldn't rise to the occasion, that was all. I don't think I've ever tried so hard to be gay and made such a dismal mess of it. I get 10 points for trying. I did try.
Why did you try if you didn't feel like it, Blanche?
I was just obeying the law of nature.
Which law's that?
The one that says the lady must entertain the gentleman or no dice. See, if you can locate my door key in this purse, when I'm so tired my fingers are all thumbs.
This it?
No, honey. That's the key to my trunk, which I must soon be packing.
You mean you're leaving here soon?
I vouchsafe my welcome.
This it?
Eureka! Honey, you open the door while I take a last look at the sky. I'm looking for the Pleiades, the Seven Sisters, but these girls are not out tonight. Oh, yes, they are. There they are. God bless them. All in a bunch going home from their little bridge party. You get the door open? Good boy. I guess you want to go now.
Can I, kiss you goodnight?
Why do you always ask me if you may?
I don't know whether you want me to or not.
Why should you be so doubtful?
That night when you were parked by the lake, and I kissed you.
Honey, it wasn't the kiss I objected to. I liked the kiss very much. It was the other little familiarity that I felt obliged to discourage. I didn't resent it, not a bit in the world. In fact, I was somewhat flattered that you desired me. But, honey, you know as well as I do that a single girl, a girl alone in the world, has got to keep a firm hold on her emotions, or she'll be lost.
Lost?
I guess you're used to girls that like to be lost, the kind that get lost immediately on the first date.
I like you to be exactly the way you are, because in all my experiences, I have never known anyone like you. You laughing at me?
No, honey. The lord and lady of the house have not yet returned, so come in. We'll have a nightcap. Let's leave the lights off, shall we?
You just... Do you want me... Do you want to... Do you... Do what you want to.
Blanche precedes him into the kitchen. The outer wall of the building disappears and the interior of 2 rooms can be dimly seen.
The other room's more comfortable. Go on in. This crashing around in the dark is my search for some liquor.
You want a drink?
I want you to have a drink. You have been so anxious and solemn all evening, and so have I. We have both been anxious and solemn, and now for these last few remaining moments of our lives together, I want to create joie de vivre. I'm lighting a candle.
That's good.
We are going to be very bohemian. We are going to pretend that we are sitting in a little artist cafe on the left bank of Paris. Je suis la dame aux camélias. Vous êtes un monde. Understand French?
Nah,
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Vous ne comprenez pas? Ah, quel dommage. I mean, it's a damn good thing. I found some liquor just enough for 2 shots without any dividends, honey.
That's good.
Sit
She enters
down.
the bedroom with the drinks and the candle.
Sit down. Why don't you take off your coat and loosen your collar?
I better leave it on.
No, I want to be comfortable.
I'm ashamed of the way I perspire. My shirt's sticking to me.
Perspiration is healthy. If people didn't perspire, they would die in 5 minutes. This is a nice coat. What kind of material is it?
They call that stuff alpaca.
Oh, alpaca.
It's a very lightweight alpaca.
Oh, lightweight alpaca.
I don't like to wear a washcoat even in summer because I sweat through it.
Oh.
And it don't look neat on me. A man with a heavy build has to be careful of what he puts on so he doesn't look too clumsy.
You are not too heavy.
You don't think I am?
You are not the delicate type. You have a massive bone structure and a very imposing physique.
Thank you. Last Christmas I was given a membership to the New Orleans Athletic Club.
Oh, good.
It was the first present I was ever given. I work out there with the weights and I swim to keep myself fit. When I started there, I was getting soft in the belly. But now my belly is hard. It's so hard now that a man can punch me in the belly and it don't hurt me. Punch me. Go on. See.
Gracious.
Guess how much I weigh, Blanche?
Oh, I'd say in the vicinity of 180.
Guess again.
Not that much?
No, more.
Well, you're a tall man and you carry a good deal of weight without looking awkward.
I weigh 270 pounds and I'm 6 feet 1.5 inches and in my bare feet without shoes on. And that is what I weigh stripped.
Oh, my
207
good.
pounds.
Yeah,
Oh.
207, yeah.
7 pounds. A little fat.
Oh, my goodness me. It's awe-inspiring.
My weight's not so interesting. It's not a very interesting subject to talk about. What's yours?
My weight?
Yes.
You're in there, mate.
Let me lift you.
Samson, go on, lift me.
He comes behind her and puts his hand on her waist and raises her lightly off the ground.
Well?
You are as light as a feather.
He lowers her but keeps his hand on her waist. Blanche speaks with an affection of demureness.
You may release me now.
Huh?
I said unhand me, sir. Now, Mitch, just because Stanley and Stella aren't home is no reason why you should behave like a gentleman.
Just give me a slap whenever I step out of bounds.
That won't be necessary. You're a natural gentleman, one of the very few that are left in the world. I don't want you to think that I am severe and old maid school teacherish or anything like that. It's just, well...
Huh?
I guess it is just that I have old-fashioned ideas.
She rolls her eyes, knowing he cannot see her face. Mitch goes to the front door. There is a considerable silence between them. Blanche sighs and Mitch coughs self-consciously.
Where's Stanley and Stella tonight?
They have gone out with Mr. and Mrs. Hubble upstairs.
Where did they go?
I think they were planning to go to a midnight preview at Low Estate.
We should all go out together some night.
No, that wouldn't be a good plan.
Why not?
You're an old friend of Stanley's.
We were together in 241st.
I guess he talks to you frankly?
Sure.
Has he talked to you about me?
Oh, not very much.
The way you say that, I suspect he has.
No, he hasn't said much.
But what he has said, what would you say his attitude toward me was?
Why'd you want to ask that for?
Well,
Don't you get along with him?
what do you think?
I don't think he understands you.
That is putting it mildly. If it weren't for Stella about to have a baby, I wouldn't be able to enjoy things here.
He isn't nice to you?
He is insufferably rude, goes out of his way to offend me.
In what way, Blanche?
Why, in every conceivable way.
Well, I'm surprised to hear that.
Are you?
Well, I don't see how anyone could be rude to you.
It's really a pretty frightful situation. You see, there's no privacy here. There's just these portières between the two rooms at night. He stalks through the room in his underwear at night, and I have to ask him to close the bathroom door. That sort of commonness isn't necessary. You probably wonder why I don't move out. Well, I'll tell you frankly, a teacher's salary is barely sufficient for her living expenses. I didn't save a penny last year, and so I had to come here for the summer. That's why I have to put up with my sister's husband. He has put up with me, apparently so much against his wishes. Surely he must have told you how much he hates me.
I don't think he hates you.
He hates me, or why would he insult me? The first time I laid eyes on him, I thought to myself, that man is my executioner. That man will destroy me unless...
Blanche?
Yes, honey.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, what?
How old are you?
She makes a nervous gesture.
Why would you want to know?
I talked to my mother, and she said about you, and she said, how old is Blanche? And I wasn't able to tell her.
You talked to your mother about me?
Yes.
Why?
I told my mother how nice you were, and I liked you.
Were you sincere about that?
You know I was.
Why did your mother want to know my age?
Mother is sick.
I'm sorry to hear that. Badly?
She won't live long. Maybe a few months.
Oh.
She worries because I'm not settled.
Oh.
She wants me to become settled before she...
You love her so very much, don't you?
Yes.
I think you have a great capacity for devotion. You will be lonely when she passes on, won't you? I understand what that is.
To be lonely.
I love someone too, and the person I loved, I lost.
Dead. A man?
He was a boy, just a boy, when I was a very young girl. When I was 16, I made the discovery of love. All at once and much, much too completely. It was like you suddenly turned a blinding light on something that had always been half in shadow. That's how it struck the world for me. But I was unlucky, deluded. There was something different about the boy, a nervousness, a softness, and tenderness, which wasn't like a man's, although he wasn't the least bit effeminate looking. Still, that thing was there. He came to me for help. I didn't know that. I didn't find out anything till after our marriage, when we'd run away and come back, and all I knew was I'd failed him in some mysterious way and wasn't able to give the help he needed but couldn't speak of. He was in the quicksands and clutching at me, but I wasn't holding him out. I was slipping in with him. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything except I loved him unendurably, but without being able to help him or help myself. Then I found out, in the worst of all possible ways, by coming suddenly into a room that I thought was empty, which wasn't empty, but had two people in it, the boy I had married and an older man who had been his friend for years. Afterwards, we pretended that nothing had been discovered. Yes, the three of us drove out to Moon Lake Casino, very drunk and laughing all the way. We danced the Barça Nuviana. Suddenly, in the middle of the dance, the boy I had married broke away from me and ran out the casino. A few moments later, a shot.
The
I
polka
ran
stops
out.
abruptly. Oh, go on.
Carry on.
No.
I ran out, all did. All ran and gathered about the terrible thing at the edge of the lake. I couldn't get near for the crowding. Then somebody caught my arm. Don't go any closer. Come back, you don't want to see. See? See what? Then I heard voices say, Alan, the grey boy. He'd stuck the revolver into his mouth and fired, so that the back of his head had been blown away. It was because, on the dance floor, unable to stop myself, I'd suddenly said, I know, you disgust me. And then the searchlight which had been turned on the world was turned off again, and never for one moment since then has there been any light that's stronger than this kitchen candle.
Mitch gets up awkwardly and moves towards her a little. The polka music increases and Mitch stands beside her.
You need somebody, and I need somebody too. Could it be? You and me, Blanche?
Sometimes
Go on.
Sometimes as God, so quickly.
I'll read afterwards. She stares at him vacantly for a moment, then with a softer cry huddles in his embrace. She makes a sobering effort to speak, but the words won't come. He kisses her forehead and her eyes finally her lips. The polka tune fades out, her breath is drawn and released in a long, grateful sob. I do it because I think people who watch it back won't necessarily know what's going on, will they?
Yeah, no, that's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Scene 7, trying to read Roman numerals and remembering what they are. It is late afternoon in mid-September. The portieres are open and a table is set for a birthday supper with cake and flowers. Stella is completing the decorations as Stanley comes in.
What's all this stuff for?
Honey, it's Blanche's birthday.
She here?
In the bathroom?
Washing out some things?
I reckon so.
How long she been in there?
All afternoon.
Soaking in a hot tub?
Yeah.
Temperature 100 on the nose, and she soaks herself in a hot tub.
She says it cools her off for the evening.
And you run out and get her cokes, I suppose, and serve 'em to Her Majesty in the tub. Sit down here a minute.
Stanley, I've got things to do.
Sit down. I've got the dope on your big sister. Stella.
Stanley, stop picking on Blanche.
That girl calls me common.
Lately, you've been doing all you can think of to rub her the wrong way, Stanley. And Blanche is sensitive. And you got to realize that Blanche and I grew up under very different circumstances than you did.
So I've been told, and told, and told, and told. You know she's been feeding us a pack of lies here.
No, I don't. And
well, she has, however, but now the cat's out of the bag. I found out a few things.
What things?
Things I already suspected, but now I got proof from the most reliable sources, which I have checked on.
Lower your voice.
Some canary bird, huh?
Now, please tell me quietly, what do you think you found out about my sister?
Lie number 1. All this squeamishness she puts on, you should just know the line she's been feeding to Mitch. He thought she'd never been more than kissed by a fellow. But Sister Blanche is no lily. Ha ha, some lily she is.
What have you heard, and who from?
Our supply man down at the plant has been going through Laurel for years, and he knows all about her, and everybody else in the town of Laurel knows all about her. She is as famous in Laurel as if she was the President of the United States. Only she is not respected by any party. This supply man stops at a hotel called the Flamingo.
Say it's only a paper moon sailing over the carpet sea, but it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me.
What about the flamingo?
She stayed there too.
My sister lives at Belred.
This is after the home place had slipped through her lily white fingers. She moved to the Flamingo, a second-class hotel which has the advantage of not interfering in the private social life of the personalities there. The Flamingo is used to all kinds of goings on, but even the management of the Flamingo was impressed by Dame Blanche. In fact, they were so impressed by Dame Blanche that they requested her to turn in her room key for permanently. This happened a couple of weeks before she showed up here.
It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't make believe if you believed in me.
What contemptible lies.
Sure, I can see how you would be upset by this. She pulled the wool over your eyes as much as Mitch's.
It's pure invention. There's not a word of truth in it, and if I were a man and this creature had dared to invent such things in my presence.
Without your love, it's a honky-tonk parade. With your love, it's a melody played in a penny arcade.
Honey, I told you I thoroughly checked on these stories. Now wait till I finish. The trouble with Dame Blanche was that she couldn't put on her act anymore in Laurel. They got wised up after 2 or 3 dates with her, and then they quit, and she goes on to another. The same old line, same old act, same old hooey. But the town was too small for this to go on forever, and as time went by, she became a town character, regarded as not just different, but downright loco, nuts. And for the last year or two, she's been washed up like poison. That's why she's here this summer, visiting royalty, putting on all this act, because she's practically told by the mayor to get out of town. Yes, did you know there was an army camp near Laurel, and your sister's was one of the places called Out of Bounds?
It's only a paper moon, just as phony as it can be. But it wouldn't make believe if you believed in me.
Well, so much for her being such a refined and particular type of girl, which brings us to lie number 2.
I don't want to hear any more.
She's not going back to teach school. In fact, I am willing to bet you that she never had no idea of returning to Laurel. She didn't resign temporarily from the high school because of nerves. No sirree, Bob, she didn't. They kicked her out of that high school before the spring term ended, and I hate to tell you the reason that step was taken. A 17-year-old boy she'd gotten mixed up with.
It's a Barnum and Bailey world, just as phony as it can be.
In the bathroom, the water goes on loud. Little breathless cries and peals of laughter are heard as if a child were frolicking in the tub.
This is making me sick.
The boy's dad learned about it and got in touch with the high school superintendent. Boy, oh boy, I'd like to have been in that office when Dame Blanche was called on the carpet. I'd like to have seen her trying to squirm out of that one. They had her on the hook good and proper that time, and she knew the jig was all up. They told her she better move on to some fresh territory. Yep, it was practically a town ordinance passed against her.
The bathroom door is opened and Blanche thrusts her head out in a towel above her hair.
Stella,
Yes, Blanche.
give me another bath towel to dry my hair with. I've just washed it.
Yes, Blanche.
What's the matter, honey?
Matter? Why?
You have such a strange expression on your face.
Oh, I guess I'm a little tired.
Why don't you bathe too? Soon as I get out.
How soon is that gonna be?
Not so terribly long. Possess your soul in patience.
It's not my soul, it's my kidneys I'm worried about.
Blanche slams the door. Stanley laughs harshly. Stella comes slowly back into the kitchen.
Well, what do you think of it?
I don't believe in all those stories, and I think your supply man was mean and rotten to tell them. It's possible that some of the things he said are partly true. There are things about my sister I don't approve of, things that cause sorrow at home. She was always flighty.
Flighty?
But when she was young, very young, she married a boy who wrote poetry. He was extremely good looking. I think Blanche didn't just love him, but worshipped the ground he walked on, adored him, and thought him almost too fine to be human. But then she found out
What?
this beautiful and talented young man was a degenerate. Didn't your supply man give you that information?
All we discussed was recent history. That must have been a pretty long time ago.
Yes, it was a pretty long time ago.
Stanley comes up and takes her by the shoulders rather gently. She gently withdraws from him. Automatically, she starts sticking little pink candles on the birthday cake.
How many candles you putting in that cake?
I stop at 25.
Is company expected?
We asked Mitch to come over for cake and ice cream.
Stanley looks a little uncomfortable. He lights a cigarette from the one he had just finished.
I wouldn't be expecting Mitch over tonight.
Stella pauses in his occupation with the candles and looks slowly around at Stanley.
Why?
Mitch is a buddy of mine. We were in the same outfit together, 241st Engineers. We work in the same plant, and now on the same bowling team. You think I could face him if...
Stanley Kowalski, did you repeat what that...
You goddamn right I told him. I'd have had that on my conscience the rest of my life if I knew all that stuff and let my best friend get caught.
Is Mitch through with her?
Wouldn't you be if...
I said, is Mitch through with her?
But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believed in me.
No, I don't think he's necessarily through with her. Just wised up.
Stanley, she thought Mitch was going to marry her, and I was hoping so too.
Well, he's not going to marry her. Maybe he was, but he's not going to jump in a tank with a school of sharks now. Blanche! Oh, Blanche, can I please get in my bathroom?
Yes, indeed, sir. Can you wait 1 second while I dry?
Having waited 1 hour, I guess 1 second ought to pass in a hurry.
And she hasn't got her job. Well, what will she do?
She's not staying here after Tuesday. You know that, don't you? Just to make sure I bought her a ticket myself, a bus ticket.
In the first place, Blanche wouldn't go on a bus.
She'll go on a bus and like it.
No, she won't. No, she won't, Stanley.
She'll go. Period. P.S. She'll go Tuesday.
What'll she do? What on earth will she do?
Her future is mapped out for her.
What do you mean?
Blanche.
Hey, canary bird, toots, get out of the bathroom.
Door flies open and Blanche emerges with a gay peal of laughter. But as Stanley crosses, a frightened look appears in her face, almost a look of panic. He doesn't look at her, but slams the bathroom door shut as he goes in.
Oh, I feel so good after my long hot bath. I feel so good and cool and rested.
Do you, Blanche?
Yes, I do. So refreshed. A hot bath and a long cold drink always gives me a brand new outlook on life. Something has happened. What is it?
Why, nothing has happened, Blanche.
You're lying. Something has.
She stares fearfully at Stella, who pretends to be busy at the table. The distant piano grows into a headache breakdown. Scene. 8. I had to count the in the thing.
Sorry, excuse me.
A Streetcar Named Desire, episode 8. 3/4 of an hour later, the view through the big windows is fading gradually into the still golden dusk. A torch of sunlight blazes on the side of a big water tank of an oil drum across the empty lot towards the business district, which is now pierced by pinpoints of lighted windows or windows reflecting the sunset. The 3 people are completing a dismal birthday supper. Stanley looks sullen. Stella is embarrassed and sad. Blanche has a tight, artificial smile on her drawn face. There's a 4th place at the table, which is left vacant.
Stanley, tell us a joke. Tell us a funny story to make us all laugh. I don't know what's the matter. We're all so solemn. Is it because I've been stood up by my beau? It's the first time in my entire experience with men, and I've had a good deal of all sorts, that I've actually been stood up by somebody. I don't know how to take it. Tell us a funny story, Stanley. Something to help us out.
I didn't think you liked my stories, Blanche.
I like them when they're amusing but not indecent.
I don't know any refined enough for your taste.
Then let me tell one.
Yes, you tell one, Blanche. You used to know lots of good stories.
Let me see now. I must run through my repertoire. Oh, yes, I love parrot stories. Do you all like parrot stories? Well, this one's about the old maid and the parrot. This old maid, she had a parrot that cursed a blue streak and knew more vulgar expressions than Mr. Kowalski.
Huh?
And the only way to hush the parrot up was to put the cover back on its cage so it would think it was night and go back to sleep. Well, one morning the old maid had just uncovered the parrot for the day when who should she see coming up the front walk but the preacher. Well, she rushed back to the parrot and slipped the cover back on the cage, and then she let in the preacher. And the parrot was perfectly still, just as quiet as a mouse. But just as she was asking the preacher how much sugar he wanted in his coffee, the parrot broke the silence with a loud counsel and said, "God damn, but that was a short day."
Throws her head back and laughs. Stella makes an unofficial effort to be seen amused. Stanley pays no attention to the story, but reaches way over the table to spear his fork into the remaining chop, which he eats with his fingers.
Apparently, Mr. Kowalski was not amused.
Mr. Kowalski is too busy making a pig of himself to think of anything else.
That's right, baby.
Your face and your fingers are disgustingly greasy. Go and wash up and then help me clear this table.
He hurls a plate to the floor.
That's how I'll clear the table. Don't ever talk to me that way. Pig, Polak, disgusting, vulgar, greasy, them kind of words have been on your tongue and your sister's too much around here. What do you two think you are? A pair of queens? Remember what Huey Long said. Every man is a king, and I am the king around here, so don't forget it. My place is cleared. You want me to clear your places?
What happened while I was bathing? What did he tell you, Stella?
Nothing.
I think he told you something about Mitch and me. You know why Mitch didn't come, but you won't tell me. I'm going to call him.
I wouldn't call him, Blanche.
I am. I'm going to call him on the phone.
I wish you wouldn't.
I intend to be given some explanation from someone.
He rushes to the phone in the bedroom. Stella goes out onto the porch and stares reproachfully at her husband. He grunts and turns away from her.
I hope you're pleased with your doings. I never had so much trouble swallowing food in my life. Looking at that girl's face in the empty chair.
Hello, Mr. Mitchell, please. Oh, I would like to leave a number if I may. Magnolia 9047. I say it's an important call. Yes, very important. Thank you.
Stanley turns slowly back towards his wife and takes her clumsily in his arms.
Stell, it's gonna be all right after she goes, and after you've had the baby. It's gonna be all right again between you and me, the way that it was. You remember the way it was? Them nights we had together? Good, honey. It's gonna be sweet when we can make noise in the night the way that we used to, and get the colored lights going with nobody's sister behind the curtains to hear us.
The upstairs neighbors are heard in bellowing laughter at something. Stanley chuckles.
Steve and Eunice.
Come on back in. Blanche?
Yes? Oh, those pretty little candles. Oh, don't burn them, Stella.
I certainly will.
Stanley comes.
Sorry. You ought to save them for a baby's birthdays. Oh, I hope candles are going to glow in his life, and I hope that his eyes are going to be like candles, like 2 blue candles lighted in a white cake.
What poetry.
I shouldn't have called him.
There's lots of things could have happened.
There's no excuse for it, Stella. I don't have to put up with insults. I won't be taken for granted.
God damn, it's hot in here with the steam from that bathroom.
I've said I was sorry 3 times. I take hot baths for my nerves. Hydrotherapy, they call it. You healthy Polak without a nerve in your body, of course you don't know what anxiety feels like.
I am not a Polak. People from Poland are Poles, not Polaks. But what I am is 100% American, born and raised in the greatest country on earth, and proud as hell of it. So don't ever call me a Polak.
The phone rings. Blanche rises expectantly.
Oh, is that for me? I'm sure.
I'm not sure. Keep your seat. Hello? Oh, yeah. Hello, Mac.
Against the wall, staring insultingly at Blanche. She sinks back in a chair in a frightened look. Stella leans over and touches her shoulder.
Oh, keep your hands off me, Stella. What is the matter with you? Why do you look at me with that pitying look?
Quiet in there! We got a noisy woman on the place. Go on, Mac. At Riley's? No, I don't want to bowl at Riley's. I had a little trouble with Riley last week. I'm the team captain, ain't I? All right, then. We're not going to bowl at Riley's. We're going to bowl at the West Side or the Gala. All right, Mac. See you soon.
He hangs up and returns the banana to the table. Tumbler of water. He doesn't look at her, but reaches into his pocket. Then he speaks slowly and with false amenability. And you know why Stanley's never been in the bathroom? It's because if he did, his beard would fall off.
Sister Blanche, I've got a little birthday remembrance for you.
Oh, have you, Stanley? I wasn't expecting any. I don't know why Stella wants to observe my birthday. I'd much rather forget it. When you reach 27, well, age is a subject that you prefer to ignore.
27?
What is it? Is it for me?
I'm 28. Am I like over the hill? He is holding a little envelope towards her.
Yes.
No hope for me.
Not me.
Yes, I hope you like it.
Why? Why? It's a
ticket. Back to Laurel on the Greyhound, Tuesday.
The verbosity of music fills in softly and continues playing. Stella rises abruptly and turns her back. Blanche tries to smile. Then she tries to laugh. Then she gives both up and springs from the table and runs into the next room. She clutches her throat and then runs into the bathroom. Coughing, gagging, sounds are heard.
Well,
You didn't need to do that.
Don't forget all that I took off her.
You needn't have been so cruel to someone alone as she is.
Delicate piece she is.
She is. She was. You didn't know Blanche was a girl. Nobody was as tender and trusting as she was. But people like you abused her and forced her to change.
Crosses into the bedroom, ripping off his shirt and changes into a brilliant silk bowling shirt. She follows him.
Do you think you're going bowling now?
Sure.
You're not going bowling. Why did you do this to her?
I done nothing to no one. Let go of my shirt. You've torn it.
I want to know why. Tell me why.
When we first met, me and you thought I was common. How right you was, baby. I was common as dirt. You showed me the snapshot of the place with the columns. I pulled you down off them columns and how you loved it. Having them colored lights going. And wasn't we happy together? Wasn't it all okay till she showed here? And wasn't we happy together? Wasn't it all okay till she showed here, hoity-toity, describing me as an ape? Hey, what is it, Stella?
Take me to the hospital.
He is with her now, supporting her with his arm, murmuring interdistinguishably as they go inside. The vivosier is heard, its music rising with sinister rapidity at the bathroom door. It opens slightly. Blanche comes out, twisting a washcloth. She begins to whisper the words as the light fades slowly. El pan de mes, el pan de mes, el pan de mes sin sal. Scene 9?
9, yeah.
A while later that evening, Blanche is seated in a tense hunched position in a bedroom chair that she has recovered with diagonal green and white stripes. When did she have time to do that? She is Bro. The table beside her chair is a bottle of liquor and a glass. Rapid, feverish polka tune, the vivosier, is heard. The music is on in her mind. She is drinking to escape it, and then sense of disaster is closing in on her. She seems to whisper the words of the song. An electric fan is turning back and forth across her. Mitch comes around in work clothes.
That was my dog. Sorry.
Yeah, I guess.
He is unshaven. Climbs the steps to the door and rings. Blanche is startled.
Who is it, please?
Me, Mitch.
Mitch? Just a minute. Mitch, you know... Go on, Ben.
It seems a bit daft when we haven't got the music. What is a poker anyway?
Polka. It's,
Polka.
Bumper music, right?
Yeah.
Sort of.
I've got the piano in the background. If I knew how to play one, I'd play one, but I don't.
It's a 4/4, isn't it, polka?
Because I knew what one of them was when I was to do ballet.
Anyway, the poker tune that never started stops.
I haven't got that.
No,
It was a Mitch.
Mitch,
It was
just
Mitch,
just
you
before
know...
Mitch.
Shall I just say Mitch?
Mitch, just a minute.
Oh, Mitch, just a minute.
he rushes about frantically, hiding the bottle in a closet, crouching on the mirror and dabbing her face with cologne and powder. She is so excited that her breath is audible as she dashes about. At last she reduces to the door in the kitchen and lets him in.
Mitch, you know, I really shouldn't let you in after the treatment I have received from you this evening. So utterly uncavalier. But hello, beautiful.
She offers him her lips. He ignores it and pushes past her into the flat. She looks fearfully after him, and she stalks into the bedroom.
My, what a cold shoulder. And such uncouth apparel. Why, you haven't even shaved. The unforgivable insult to a lady. But I forgive you. I forgive you because it's such a relief to see you. You've stopped that polka tune that I had caught in my head. Have you ever had anything caught in your head? No, of course you haven't, you dumb angel puss. You'd never get anything awful caught in your head.
He stares at her while she follows him while she talks. It is obvious that he has had a few drinks on the way over.
Do we still have that fan on?
No.
I don't like fans.
Then let's turn it off, honey. I'm not partial to them. I don't know what there is to drink. I haven't investigated.
Mitch,
Oh, okay. I don't want Stan's liquor.
It isn't Stan's. Everything here isn't Stan's. Some things on the premises are actually mine. How is your mother? Isn't your mother well?
Why?
Something's the matter tonight. But never mind. I won't cross-examine the witness. I'll just pretend I don't notice anything different about you. That music again.
What music?
The Barsaviana, the polka tune they were playing, and Alan. Wait. Yes, now it stopped. There now. The shot. It always stops after that. Yes, now it stopped.
Are you boxed out your mind?
I'll go and see what I can find in the way of... Oh, by the way, excuse me for not being dressed, but I'd practically given up. Had you forgotten your invitation to supper?
I wasn't gonna see you anymore.
Wait a minute. I can't hear what you're saying, and you talk so little that when you do say something, I don't want to miss a single syllable of it. What am I looking around here for? Oh, yes, liquor. We've had so much excitement around here this evening that I am boxed out of my mind. Here's something Southern comfort. What is that, I wonder?
If you don't know, it must belong to Stan.
Take your foot off the bed. It has a light cover on it. Of course, you boys don't notice things like that. I've done so much with this place since I've been here.
I bet you have.
You saw it before I came. Well, look at it now. This room is almost dainty. I want to keep it that way. I wonder if this stuff ought to be mixed with something. It's sweet, so sweet. It's terribly, terribly sweet. Why, it's a liquor, I believe. Yes, that's what it is, a liquor. I'm afraid you won't like it, but try it, and maybe you will.
I told you already, I don't want no more of his liquor, and I mean it. You ought to lay off the liquor. He says you've been lapping it up all summer, like a wildcat.
What a fantastic statement. Fantastic of him to say it. Fantastic of you to repeat it. I won't descend to the level of such cheap accusations to answer them even.
What?
What's in your mind? I see something in your eyes.
It's dark in here.
I like it dark. The dark is comforting to me.
I don't think I've ever seen you in the light. That's a fact.
Is it?
I've never seen you in the afternoon.
Whose fault is that?
You never want to go out in the afternoon.
Why, Mitch, you're at the plant in the afternoon.
Not Sunday afternoon. I asked you to go out with me and sometimes on Sunday, but you always make an excuse. You never want out until after 6, and then there's always some place that's not really lighted.
There is some obscure meaning in this, but I fail to catch it.
What it means is I've never had a real good look at you, Blanche. Let's turn the light on here.
Light? Which light? What for?
The one with the paper thing on it.
What'd you do that for?
So I can take a look at you good and plain.
Of course, you don't really mean to be insulting.
No, just realistic.
I don't want realism. I want magic. Yes, magic. I try to give that to people. I misrepresent things to them. I don't tell truth. I tell what ought to be truth. And if that is sinful, then let me be damned for it. Don't turn the light on.
Mitch crosses to the switch. Oh, he turns the light on and stares. Cries out in caution. turns the light off again.
I don't mind you being older than what I thought, but all the rest of it? Christ. That pitch about your ideals being so old-fashioned and the Markley that you've dished out all summer. Oh, I knew you weren't 16 anymore, but I was fool enough to believe that you were straight.
Who told you I wasn't straight? My loving brother-in-law, and you believed him?
I called him a liar at first, and then I checked on the story. First, I asked our supply man who traveled through Laurel, and then I talked directly over long distance to the merchant.
Who is this merchant?
Kaifaber.
The merchant Kaifaber of Laurel? I know the man. He whistled at me. I put him in his place. So now for revenge he makes up stories about me?
3 people! Kaifaber, Stanley, and Shaw. You swore to them.
Rub-a-dub-dub, 3 men in a tub, and such a filthy tub.
Didn't you stay at a hotel called the Flamingo?
Flamingo? No. Tarantula was the name of it. I stayed at a hotel called the Tarantula Arms.
Tarantula?
Yes, a big spider. That's where I bought my victims. Yes, I had many intimacies with strangers. After the death of Ellen, intimacies with strangers was all I seemed to be able to fill my empty heart with. I think it was panic, just panic that drove me from one to the other, hunting for some protection, here and there, in most unlikely places, even, at last, in a 17-year-old boy. But somebody wrote the superintendent about it. This woman is morally unfit for her position. True, yes, I suppose, unfit somehow. Anyway, so I came here. There was nowhere else I could go. I was played out. You know what played out is? My youth was suddenly gone up the water spout and I met you. You said you needed somebody. Well, I needed somebody too. I thank God for you, because you seemed to be gentle, a cleft in the rock of the world that I could hide in. But I guess I was hoping too much. Kaifaber, Stanley, and Shaw have tied an old tin can to the tail of the kite.
You lied to me, Blanche.
Don't say I lied to you.
Lies, 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 inside and out. All lies.
Never inside. I didn't lie my heart.
A vendor comes around the corner. She is a blind Mexican woman. Are you ready? In a dark short, carrying bunches of those pretty tin flowers that lower-class Mexicans display at funerals and other festive occasions. She is calling barely audibly. Her figure is only faintly visible outside the buildings.
Flores, 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 Carlos Munoz, Flores, Flores.
What? Oh, somebody outside.
Flores, Flores, Carlos Munoz.
No, not now. Not now.
Flores, Carlos Munoz.
Crumble and regrets recriminations. If you'd done this, it wouldn't have cost me that.
Carnes, Carlos Munoz, Carnes.
Legacies, huh? And other things such as blood-stained pillow slips. The linen needs changing. Yes, Mother. But couldn't we get a colored girl to do it? No, we couldn't, of course. Everything gone but the
Flores.
death. I used to sit here and she used to sit over there, and death was as close as you are. We didn't dare even admit we had ever heard of it.
Flores, Carlos Munoz, Flores, Flores.
It is desire. So do you wonder? How could you possibly wonder? Not far from Belle Reve, before we had lost Belle Reve, was a camp where they trained young soldiers. On Saturday nights, they would go into town and get drunk.
Cornus.
And on the way back, they would stagger on to my lawn and call, "Blanche! Blanche!" The deaf old lady remaining suspected nothing. But sometimes I slipped outside to answer their calls. Later, the paddy wagon would gather them up like daisies the long way home.
The Mexican woman turns slowly and drifts back off with her soft, mournful cries. Blanche goes to the dresser and leans forward on it. After a moment, Mitch rises and follows her purposefully. The polka music fades away. He places his hands on her waist and tries to turn her about.
What do you want?
What I've been missing all summer.
Then marry me, Mitch.
I don't think I want to marry you anymore.
No?
You're not clean enough to bring into the house with my mother.
Go away then. Get out of here, quick, before I start screaming fire. Get out of here, quick, before I start screaming fire. Fire! Fire! Fire!
He still remains strong. She suddenly rushes to the big window with its pale blue square of soft summer light and cries wildly.
Fire!
starts to
Fire! Fire!
Fire, fire, fire.
It's still burning.
Now there's all coming down around the corner of the building. Blanche staggers back from the window and falls to her knees. The distant piano is slow and blue. Scene 10. It is a few hours later that night. Blanche has been drinking fairly steadily since Mitch left. She has dragged a wardrobe trunk into the center of the bedroom. It hangs open with flowery dresses thrown across it. As the drinking and packing went on, a mood of hysterical exhilaration came into her. She has decked herself out in somewhat soiled and crumpled white satin evening gown and a pair of scuffed silver slippers, with brilliance set in the heels. Now she is pasting the rhinestone tiara on her head before the mirror of the dressing table and murmuring excitedly as if to a group of spectral admirers.
How about taking a swim, a moonlight swim at the old white quarry, if anyone's sober enough to drive a car? Best way in the world to stop your head buzzing. Only you've got to be careful to drive where the deep pond is. If you hit a rut, you don't come up till tomorrow.
Tremblingly, she lifts the hand mirror for a closer inspection. She catches her breath and slams the mirror face down with sick violence as the glass cracks. She moans a little and attempts to rise. Stanley appears around the corner of the building. He still has on the vivid green silk bowling shirt. As he rounds the corner, the honky-tonk music is heard. It continues softly throughout the scene. He enters the kitchen, slamming the door. As he peers in at Blanche, he gives a low whistle. He has had a few too many drinks on the way and has brought some quart beer bottles home with him.
How's my sister?
She's doing okay.
And how is the baby?
The baby won't come before morning. So they told me to go home and get a little shut-eye.
Does that mean we are to be alone here?
Yep, just you and me, Blanche. Unless you got somebody hid under the bed. What have you got on those fine feathers for?
Oh, that's right. You left before my wire came.
You got a wire?
I received a telegram from an old admirer of mine.
Anything good?
I think so. An invitation.
What to? A fireman's ball?
A cruise of the Caribbean on a yacht.
Well, well, what do you know?
I've never been so surprised in my life.
I guess not.
It came like a bolt from the blue.
Who did you say it was from?
An old beau of mine.
The one that gave you the white fox pieces?
Mr. Shep Huntley. I wore his ADO pin my last year at college. I hadn't seen him again till last Christmas. I ran into him on Biscayne Boulevard. Then, just now, this wire invited me on a cruise of the Caribbean. The problem is clothes. I tore into my trunk to see what I have that's suitable for the tropics.
And come up with that gorgeous diamond tiara?
This old relic? It's only rhinestones.
Gosh, I thought it was Tiffany diamonds.
Well, anyhow, I shall be entertained in style.
Uh-huh. It goes to show you never know what is coming.
Just when I thought my luck had begun to fail me.
Into the picture pops this Miami millionaire.
This man is not from Miami. This man is from Dallas.
This man is from Dallas.
Yes, this man is from Dallas, where gold spouts out of the ground.
Well, just so he's from somewhere.
He starts removing his shirt.
Close the curtains before you undress any further.
This is all I'm going to undress right now. Seen a bottle opener?
He moves slowly towards the dresser where she stands with her hands knotted together.
I used to have a cousin who could open a beer bottle with his teeth. That was his only accomplishment, all he could do. He was just a human bottle opener. And then, one time, at a wedding party, he broke his front teeth off. After that, he was so ashamed of himself, he used to sneak out of the house when company came.
The bottle cap pops off and a geyser of foam shoots up. Stanley laughs happily, holding up the bottle over his head.
Rain from heaven. Shall we bury the hatchet and make it a loving cup, huh?
No, thank you.
Well, it's a red letter night for us both. You having an oil millionaire and me having a baby.
He goes to the bureau in the bedroom and crouches to remove something from the bottom drawer.
What are you doing in here?
Here's something I always break out on special occasions like this. The silk pajamas I wore on my wedding night.
Oh.
When the telephone rings and they say, "You've got a son," I'll tear this off and wave it like a flag. I guess we're both entitled to put on the dog.
When I think of how divine it is going to be to have such a thing as privacy once more, I could weep with joy.
This millionaire from Dallas is not going to interfere with your privacy any.
It won't be the sort of thing you have in mind. This man is a gentleman, and he respects me. What he wants is my companionship. Having great wealth sometimes makes people lonely. A cultivated woman, a woman of intelligence and breeding, can enrich a man's life immeasurably. I have those things to offer, and this doesn't take them away. Physical beauty is passing, a transitory possession. But beauty of the mind and richness of the spirit and tenderness of the heart, and I have all of those things, aren't taken away, but grow, increase with the years. How strange that I should be called a destitute woman, when I have all these treasures locked in my heart. I think of myself as a very, very rich woman, but I have been foolish, casting my pearls before swine.
Swine, huh?
Yes, swine, and I'm thinking not only of you, but of your friend, Mr. Mitchell. He came to see me tonight. He dared to come here in his work clothes and to repeat slander to me, vicious stories that he had gotten from you. I gave him his walking papers.
You did, huh?
But then he came back. He returned with a box of roses to beg my forgiveness. He implored my forgiveness, but some things are not forgivable. Cruelty is not forgivable. It is the one unforgivable thing in my opinion, and it is the one thing of which I have never been guilty. And so I told him. I said to him, "Thank you, but it was foolish of me to think that we could ever adapt ourselves to each other. Our ways of life are too different. Our attitudes and our backgrounds are incompatible. We have to be realistic about such things. So farewell, my friend, and let there be no hard feelings."
Was this before or after the telegram came from the Texas oil millionaire?
What telegram? No, after. As a matter of fact, the wire just came as...
As a matter of fact, there wasn't no wire at all.
Oh.
There isn't no millionaire. And Mitch didn't come back with roses, 'cause I know where he is.
Oh.
There isn't a goddamn thing but imagination.
Oh.
And lies and conceit and tricks.
Oh.
And look at yourself. Take a look at yourself in that worn-out Mardi Gras outfit rented for 50 cents for some rag picker. And with the crazy crown on, what queen do you think you are?
Oh, God.
I've been on to you from the start. Not once did you pull any wool over this boy's eyes. You come in here and you sprinkle the place with powder and spray perfume and cover the light bulb with a paper lantern, and lo and behold, the place is turned into Egypt, and you are the queen of the Nile. sitting on your throne and swilling down my liquor. I say, ha, ha! Do you hear me? Ha, ha, ha!
Don't come in here.
Lurid reflections appear on the walls around Blanche. The shadows are of a grotesque and menacing form. She catches her breath, crosses to the phone, and jiggles the hook. Stanley goes into the bathroom and closes the door.
Operator, give me long distance, please. I want to get in touch with Mr. Shep Huntley of Dallas. He's so well known he doesn't require any address. Just ask anybody who... Oh, wait, no, I couldn't find it right now. Please understand. No, wait. One moment. Someone is... Nothing. Hold on, please.
He sets the phone down and crosses wearily to the table. The night is filled with inhuman voices like cries in a jungle. The shadows and lurid reflections move sinuously as flames along the wall spaces. Through the back wall of the rooms, which have become transparent, can be seen the sidewalk. A prostitute has rolled a drunkard. He pursues her along the walk, overtakes her, and there is a struggle. A policeman's whistle breaks it up. The figures disappear. Some moments later, the Negro woman appears around the corner with a sequined bag which has the prostitute has dropped on the walk. She is rooting excitedly through it. Blanche presses her knuckles to her lips and returns slowly to the phone. She speaks in a hoarse whisper.
Operator, never mind long distance. Get Western Union. There isn't time to be. Western Union? Western Union? Yes, I want to take down this message. In desperate circumstances, help me. Caught in a trap. Oh!
The bathroom door is thrown open and Stanley comes out in the brilliant silk pajamas. He grins at her and he knots the tasseled sash around his waist. She gasps and backs away from the phone. He stares at her for a count of 10. Then clinking becomes audible from the telephone, steady and rasping.
You left the phone off the hook.
He crosses to it deliberately and sets it back on the hook. After he has replaced it, he stares at her again, his mouth slowly curving into a grin, as he waves between Blanche and the outer door. The barely audible blue piano begins to drum up louder. The sound of it turns into the roar of an approaching locomotive. Blanche crouches, pressing her fists to her ears until it has gone by.
Let me get by you.
Get by me? Sure. Go ahead.
You stand over there.
You got plenty of room to walk by me now.
Not with you there, but I gotta get out somehow.
You think I'll interfere with you?
The blue piano goes softly. She turns confusedly and makes a faint gesture. The inhuman jungle voices rise up and he takes a step towards her, biting his tongue, which protrudes between his lips.
Come to think of it, maybe you wouldn't be bad to interfere with.
Blanche moves backwards through the door into the bedroom.
Stay back. Don't come toward me another step, or I'll...
What?
Some awful thing will happen. It will.
What are you putting on now?
They are now both inside the bedroom.
I warn you, don't. I'm in danger.
He takes another step and she smashes a bottle on the table and faces him, clutching the broken top.
What did you do that for?
So I could twist the broken end in your face.
I bet you wouldn't do that.
I would.
I bet you would do that.
I would.
She would.
I would. I would. I will if you...
Oh, so you want some rough house? All right, let's have some rough house.
He springs towards her, overturning the table. She cries out and strikes at him with the bottle top, but he catches her wrist.
Tiger, drop the bottle top. Drop it. We've had this date with each other from the beginning.
She moans. The bottle top falls and she sinks to her knees. He picks her up and carries her to the bed. The hot trumpet and the drums from the 4 deuces sound loudly. Scene 11. It is some weeks later. Stella is packing Blanche's things. Around, the sound of water can be heard running in the bathroom. The portieres are partly open, and the poker players, Stanley, Steve, Mitch, and Pablo, who sit around in a table, are in the kitchen. The atmosphere of the kitchen is now the same raw, lurid sound as one of the disastrous poker player nights earlier. The building is framed by the sky of turquoise. Stella has been crying as she arranges the flowery dresses in the open trunk. Eunice comes down from the steps of her flat above and enters the kitchen. There's another burst from the poker table.
Drew to an inside straight and made it, by God.
Maldita si tu sut, eh?
Put it in English, greaseball.
I'm cursing your rotting luck.
You know what luck is? Luck is believing you're lucky. Take it Salerno. I believed I was lucky. I figured that 4 out of 5 would not come through, but I would. And I did. I put that down as a rule. To hold front position in this rat race, you gotta believe you are lucky.
You. Brag, bull.
Stella goes into the bedroom and starts folding a dress.
What's the matter with him?
I always did say that men are callous things with no feelings. This does beat anything, making pigs of yourselves.
What's the matter with her?
How is my baby?
Sleeping like a little angel. Brought you some grapes. Blanche?
Bathing.
How is she?
She wouldn't eat anything but ask for a drink.
What did you tell her?
I just told her that we'd made arrangements for her to rest in the country. She got it mixed in her mind with Shep Huntley.
Blanche opens the bathroom door slightly.
Stella? Sorry, I'm having...
Yes, Blanche?
If anyone calls while I'm bathing, take the number and tell them I'll call right back.
Yes.
That cool yellow silk, the boucle, see if it's crushed. If it's not too crushed, I'll wear it. And on the lapel, that silver and turquoise pin in the shape of a seahorse. You will find them in the heart-shaped box I keep my accessories in. And Stella, try to locate a bunch of artificial violets in that box to pin with the seahorse on the lapel of the jacket.
She closes the door and Stella turns to Eunice.
I don't know if I did the right thing.
What else could you do?
I couldn't believe her story and go on living with Stanley.
Don't ever believe it. Life has got to go on. No matter what happens, you've got to keep going on.
The bathroom door opens a little.
Is the coast clear?
Yes, Blanche. Tell her how well she's looking.
Please close curtains before I come out.
They're closed.
How many for you?
2.
3.
Blanche appears in the amber light of the door. She has a tragic radiance in her red satin robe, followed by the sculptural lines of her body. The Venezuela rises audibly as Blanche enters the bedroom.
I have just washed my hair.
Did you?
I'm not sure I got the soap out.
Such fine hair.
It's a problem. Didn't I get a call?
Who from, Blanche?
Shep Huntley.
Why, not yet, honey.
How strange.
At the sound of Blanche's voice, Mitch's arm supporting his cards has sagged and his gaze is dissolved in space. Stanley slaps him on the shoulder.
Hey, Mitch, come to.
The sound of this new voice shocked Blanche. She makes a shocked gesture, forming his name with her lips. Stella nods and looks quickly away. Blanche stands quite still for some moments, the silver-backed mirror in her hand and a look of sorrowful perplexity, as though all human experience shows on her face. Blanche finally speaks with sudden hysteria.
What's going on here?
She turns from Stella to Eunice and back to Stella. Her rising voice penetrates the conclusion of the game. Mitch ducks his head low, but Stanley shoves his back his chair, as if about to rise. Steve places a restraining hand on his arm.
What's happened here? I want an explanation of what's happened here.
Hush, hush.
Hush, hush, honey.
Please, Blanche.
Why are you looking at me like that? Is something wrong with me?
You look wonderful, Blanche. Doesn't she look wonderful?
Yes,
I understand you're going on a trip.
yes, Blanche is. She's going on a vacation.
I'm green with envy.
Help me get dressed.
Is this what you...
Yes, it will do. I'm anxious to get out of here. This place is a trap.
What a pretty blue jacket.
It's lilac. Oh, sorry.
It's lilac colored.
You're both mistaken. It's Della Rabia blue, the blue of the robe in the old Madonna pictures. Are these grapes washed?
You think there's a bunch of grapes which Eunice has brought in.
Huh?
Washed, I said. Are they washed?
They're from the French market.
That doesn't mean they've been washed. Those cathedral bells, they're the only clean thing in the quarter. Well, I'm going now. I'm ready to go.
She's going to walk out before they get here.
Wait, Blanche.
I don't want to pass in front of those men.
Then wait until the game breaks up.
Sit down and...
Blanche turns weakly, hesitantly about. She lets them push her in her chair.
I can smell the sea air. The rest of my time I'm going to spend on the sea. And when I die, I'm going to die on the sea. You know what I should die of? I should die of eating an unwashed grape one day out on the ocean. I will die with my hand in the hand of some nice-looking ship's doctor, a very young one with a small blonde moustache and a big silver watch. Poor lady, they'll say, the quinine did her no good. That unwashed grape has transported her soul to heaven. And I'll be buried at sea, sewn up in a clean white sack and dropped overboard at noon in the blaze of the summer and into an ocean as blue as my first lover's eyes.
A doctor and a matron have appeared around the corner of the building and climbed the steps up to the porch. The gravity of their profession is exaggerated, the unmistakable aura of the state institution with its cynical detachment. The doctor rings the doorbell. The murmur of the game is interrupted.
That must be them.
Stella presses her fist to her lips.
What is it?
Excuse me while I see who's at the door.
Yes.
Eunice goes into the kitchen.
I wonder if it's for me.
Someone is calling for Blanche.
It is for me, then. Is it a gentleman I was expecting from Dallas?
I think it is, Blanche.
I'm not quite ready.
Ask him to wait outside.
Eunice goes back to the portieres. Drums sound very softly.
Everything packed?
My silver toilet articles are still out.
Ah,
They're waiting in front of the house.
They? Who's they?
There's a lady with him.
I cannot imagine who this lady could be. How is she dressed?
Just sort of a plain tailored outfit.
Possibly she's...
shall we go, Blanche?
Must we go through that room?
I will go with you.
How do I look?
Lovely.
Lovely.
Blanche moves fearfully towards the portieres. Eunice draws them open for her, and Blanche goes into the kitchen.
Please don't get up. I'm only passing through.
Crosses quietly to the outside door. Stella and Eunice follow her. The poker players sit awkwardly at the table, all except Mitch, who remains seated, looking at the table. Blanche steps up on a small porch at the side of the door. She stops short and catches her breath.
How do you do?
You are not the gentleman I was expecting.
She suddenly gasps and starts to back up the steps. She stops by Stella, who stands just outside the door and speaks in a frightening whisper.
That man isn't Shep Huntley.
The vuvuzela music is playing distantly. Stella stares back at Blanche. Eunice is holding Stella's arm. There is a moment of silence, no one but the sound of Stanley steadily shuffling the cards. Blanche catches her breath again and slips back into the flat. She enters the flat with a peculiar smile, and her eyes are wide and brilliant. As soon as her sister goes past her, Stella closes her eyes and clutches her hands. Eunice throws her arms comfortingly around her. Then she starts up to her flat. Blanche stops just outside the door, and Mitch keeps staring down at his hands on the table. But the other men look at her curiously. At last, she stops around the table towards the bedroom. As she does this, Stanley suddenly pushes back his chair and rises as if to block her way. The matron follows her into the flat.
Did you forget something?
Yes, I forgot something.
He rushes past him into the bedroom. Lurid reflections appear on the walls in an odd, sinuous shape. The Vavasura music is filtered into the weird distortion, accompanied by the cries and noises of the jungle. Blanche seizes the back of a chair as if to defend herself.
Doc, you better go in.
Nurse, bring her out.
The matron advances on one side, Stanley on the other. Divested of all the softer properties of womanhood, the matron is a peculiarly sinister figure in her severe dress. Her voice is bold and toneless as a fire bell.
Hello, Blanche.
The greeting is echoed and re-echoed by other mysterious voices behind the walls, as if reverberated through a canyon of rock.
She says that she forgot something.
The echo sound is threatening whispers.
That's all right.
What did you forget, Blanche?
It don't matter. We can pick it up later.
Sure, we can send it along with the trunk.
I don't know you. I don't know you. I want to be left alone, please.
Now, Blanche.
Now, Blanche, now, Blanche, now.
You left nothing here but spilt talcum and old empty perfume bottles. Unless it's the paper lantern you want to take with you. You want the lantern?
He crosses to the dressing table and seizes the paper lantern, tearing it off the light bulb and extending it towards her. She cries out as if the lantern was herself. The matron steps boldly towards her. She screams and tries to break past the matron. All the men swing to their feet. Stella runs out to the porch with Eunice following her to comfort her. Simultaneously with the confused voices of the men in the kitchen, Stella rushes into Eunice's embrace on the porch.
Oh my God, Eunice, help me. Don't let them do that to her. Don't let them hurt her. Oh God, oh please God, don't hurt her. What are they doing to her? What are they doing?
No, honey. No, honey. Stay here. Don't go back in there. Stay with me and don't look.
What have I done to my sister? Oh God, what have I done to my sister?
You done the right thing. The only thing you could do. She couldn't stay here. There wasn't no other place for her to go.
While Stella and Eunice are speaking on the porch, the voices of the men in the kitchen overlap them.
We haven't got any lines on ours.
No, we haven't got any lines. Just says bitch has.
I've got, hey, doctor, you better go in.
Nope.
Nope.
What's the next line you've got?
More of yours. Mitch has started towards the back bedroom.
Too bad. I was always like to avoid it. Mitch has started towards the bedroom. Stanley crosses to block him.
We haven't got anything until the matron says these fingernails have to be trimmed.
Oh gosh, I've got like 2 paragraphs.
Oh.
Mitch collapses at the table, sobbing. During the preceding scenes, the matron catches hold of Blanche's arm and prevents her flight. Blanche has turned wildly and scratches at the matron. The heavy woman pins her arms. Blanche cries out hoarsely and slips to her knees.
These fingernails have to be trimmed.
The doctor comes into the room and she looks at him.
Jacket, doctor.
Not unless necessary.
He takes off his hat and now becomes personalized. The unhuman quality goes. His voice is gentle and reassuring as he crashes to Blanche and crouches in front of her. As he speaks her name, her terror subsides a little. The lurid reflections fade from the walls, the inhuman cries and noises die out, and her own hoarse crying is calmed.
Miss Dubois.
She turns her face to him and stares at him with a desperate pleading. He smiles, then speaks to the matron.
It won't be necessary.
Ask her to let go of me.
Let go.
The matron releases her. Blanche extends her hands towards the doctor. He draws her up gently and supports her with his arm and leads her through the portieres.
Wherever you are, I have always depended on kindness of strangers.
Poker players stand back as Blanche and the doctor cross the kitchen to the front door. She allows him to lead her as if she were blind. As they go out onto the porch, Stella cries out her sister's name from where she is crouched a few steps up the stairs.
Blanche, Blanche, Blanche.
Blanche walks on without turning, followed by the doctor and the matron. They go around the corner of the building. Eunice descends to Stella and places a child in her arms. It is wrapped in a pale blue blanket. Stella accepts the child sobbingly. Eunice continues downstairs and enters the kitchen where the men, except for Stanley, are returning silently to their places about the table. Stanley has gone out on the porch and stands at the foot of the steps looking at Stella.
Stella?
Starts with inhuman that her sister is gone.
Now, honey. Now, love. Now, love. Now, love. Now, love.
The sensual murmur fades away under the swelling music of the blue piano and the muted trumpet.
This game is 7 cards stirred.
Curtain.
Hey.
Yay.